Hey guys, good morning. All right, so we are watching to see if there is going to be an injunction put in place, see if something temporary happens here to stop this Oregon measure 114. We're gonna see, we're gonna find out, hopefully. So I'm doing the best I can. So here's the sources that I'm using. I am using the local Portland KGW. I am using, of course, Fox. I'm even using the liberal ones like CNN, because here's the deal: you don't. If this thing doesn't go their way, they're gonna be pissed and they're gonna, blast it out there. So, and of course, I have to say thank you to Miss B Haven. This individual here had let me know that the hearings starts at 10 a.m. So that's cool. So I pinned the comment. Let me pull up. Let's play what was in the media yesterday on this. So what I'm going to do is just kind of cover some stuff over the last like 24 hours with this measure. Some of the legal experts, whatever that means, they're saying that they think that the magazine ban and the permitting may not stand muster on this, and it could be taken down 2 days. So, well, an injunction at least put in 2 days. So let me, we'll go through a little bit of that. And then meanwhile, I'm just going to kind of keep going through all this till something comes out, and I'm just going to kind of keep scouring the internet constantly. So, all right. Let me get this pulled up here on StreamYard. Anyway, how's it going, Blue? Thank you, everybody, for coming and supporting. Remember, we're only as strong as our weakest link. And if the people in Oregon, if this goes into effect on December 8th, if the people of Oregon are no longer free to be able to purchase a firearm the way we can in other states, like where I am in Alaska, people in Idaho, you get the idea, right? Then none of us are truly free, because if they can do this in Oregon, they can do this here. They could do this anywhere potentially. So, all right, let's get this. So this was from yesterday. Well, 15 hours ago. So yesterday. Kind of see what they're saying here.
So in just 1 week, Oregon's voter-approved Measure 114 is set to take effect. Now, there's a chance that Measure 114 does not take effect next Thursday. That's up to a judge to decide during a hearing tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So more on that in a minute. But in case you haven't been paying attention, Measure 114 is a really strict form of gun control that will vastly change the way that guns are bought and sold in Oregon. Since it narrowly passed in this election, several lawsuits have been filed, including another one just today by the National Shooting Sports Foundation. Here's a recap of what would change if the law does take effect. Any people who want to buy a gun will have to get a permit first. Those will be issued by local law enforcement, but the process to do that is still unclear, and state police, they will put that together. So the steps to getting a permit include completing a gun safety class that meets certain requirements, and then submitting to a federal criminal background check, which does include getting your fingerprints taken. Those permits could cost up to $65 and would be good for 5 years. If you are denied a permit, there is an appeal process, but if you're approved for a permit, there is no limit on the number of guns you can buy. These permits would not be required to own a gun, only to purchase one, meaning current legal gun owners do not need a permit unless they want to buy another gun. Okay, Measure 114 also bans the sale, transfer, and manufacture of ammunition magazines that hold more than 10 rounds. With the exception of people being those who already own these magazines, they can keep them and use them in specific locations, like your private property or shooting ranges. New high-capacity magazines just cannot be made or sold. Now let's talk more about tomorrow's hearing. It stems from the first lawsuit filed against 114, which wants the measure tossed out because plaintiffs argue that it violates their Second Amendment and due process rights. Tomorrow's hearing is for a judge to decide on whether to place an injunction or pause to put the measure on hold until a ruling can be made on the constitutionality of the measure. We'll be watching closely tomorrow at 10 a.m. to see what that judge decides to do. But ahead of that hearing, Oregon's Attorney General filed a 42-page response urging the judge to allow the measure to become law next week, saying that any pause to the measure would lead to, quote, unnecessary deaths. Plaintiffs have targeted the high-capacity magazine section of the measure, arguing that without them, law-abiding gun owners will be at a disadvantage when confronting criminals. The AG contends that magazines hold more than 10 rounds that hold more than 10 rounds are not arms protected by the Second Amendment, and that current gun owners involved in the lawsuit will not be harmed if the measure becomes law. Writing, plaintiffs can continue to keep and bear the arms they currently possess, which is enough to protect their Second Amendment rights for the pendency of this litigation. The Attorney General's office also disagrees that Measure 114 violates the due process rights of the plaintiffs, saying that people who already own high-capacity magazines can keep them and use them in certain instances. They're not being taken away. Quote, the law does not punish past purchases, only future conduct. Legislation readjusting rights and burdens of such ownership is not unlawful solely because it upsets otherwise settled expectations. Now, when the Attorney General's office, what they did not talk about, though, in this filing is what's being done by state police or local law enforcement to actually get that permit process up and running in just a matter of days. In fact, even today, the Eugene Police Department came out and flatly said it will not have the permitting process in place by next Thursday, but says it is working with state police, the Association of Chiefs of Police, and the state's Sheriff's Association to implement a permit system as soon as possible. In that same statement, the police department pointed to numerous questions about Measure 114 that still need answering from the state and the courts, answers that have to be found in just 7 days, unless the judge puts the measure on hold during tomorrow's hearing. So stay tuned on for that. Well, still to come on the story.
Sling TV is a bet.
Okay, so the Multnomah County Sheriff, I believe his last name is Reese. It's like Michael Reese or something. I can't remember off the top of my head. He told you all to be patient. He told everybody in Oregon, oh, you got to be patient.
You guys
I
see this
kid you
amazing
not. Hold on, let me
truck?
turn this.
My car insurance company was
He literally says, you know, that they don't know what the process is going to be. Just like they said, they don't know what the process is going to be. There's, you know, still trying to work this all out. And can you imagine a constitutional right? Be patient for your rights. Are you kidding me? Be patient. That's like maybe you live in a storm impacted area. Trees have come down on the power lines. Roads are blocked. And you know, someone says, hey, it's going to take a while to get around, clean this stuff up. Be patient. That's one thing. But to tell someone you need to be patient to exercise your constitutional rights, that is absurd. That is crazy. I mean, I cannot believe we're seeing this in the United States. I don't know. Well, I do know how this passed because, you know, obviously the few people, I believe they call it like the I-5 corridor, like that Portland, basically that Portland area. But look at a map of Oregon. It is clearly red. And this is exactly why the Greater Idaho movement is in place. I dropped a link down in the chat. So if anybody would like to click on the link and come on here and, you know, share how they feel, express their opinions about this, you're more than welcome to. All you got to do is click the link and then there'll be a little thing that pops up right here and then in you are. So, all right. It is now, what time is it? It's almost 9:15. So this has been going on for a few minutes. I'm going to go over and so what I'm doing is I have one of the local Portland news sites up, KGW8, and I just keep refreshing it every minute or so to see if something new comes up here. So far, I'm not seeing anything yet. I am curious how long because here's the deal with these hearings. I mean, they're looking for a temporary injunction. So I imagine this could go on. This probably just, this isn't going to go on for hours. So there was, let's see, I saw a story on here about this measure 114. It was under the politics section. And that's the thing. Why are guns shouldn't even be political. I said last night, one of the best things I could compare it to was, imagine if, they said, oh, you got to have a permit to practice free speech, and we're going to stop. You can't get Bibles or religious text anymore sent to your state. This is just wild. Okay, I'm pulling this up on, this is the KGW8 website. Let's see what they have on here regarding it. Let me switch over the screen here. So I know a lot of this info everyone, already knows. But literally this is, I don't know. I don't really want to use the term a verdict. But like an injunction watch. So hopefully that'll come out really soon. So I'm not trying to bore anybody with a bunch of filler, but I'm just going through here, just trying to figure this out, trying to help everybody. If you guys see on the ticker down below, I put the thing for the Firearms Policy Coalition.org. So right when this measure was narrowly voted for, there was the Firearm Policy Coalition had immediately put out the shred114.com, and basically it's just a crowdfunding to help fund this. So what, I don't get anything from them or nothing. It's just that they were one of the first ones that I saw. So I've just been kind of pushing them a little bit, and I always say, hey, if you want to join the fight and you're not a resident of Oregon, you're like me, you're out in Alaska, you can help join the fight, and we could help our fellow 2A supporters down in Oregon. So I donated a little bit of money. I don't have a ton of money. I donated a little bit of money. Some other people that a small group, a small following that I have, they donate a little. So anyway, let's see what this says here. Okay, so I'm just going through this story here, see if there's anything kind of new. Okay, so in this article here, they're saying the Oregon ballot measure is part of a national trend of gun policy being decided by voters because, quote, significant reform is stalled, and that has put all the battles over gun control and gun safety at the state level, said Adam Winkler, a constitutional law professor and expert in gun policy at the University of California, Los Angeles School of Law. Gee, I wonder which way he sways. Ballot measures are only one way for people to seize the reins of policy making. People can act for themselves to change the law, and on an issue like gun safety, there is a really growing and active gun safety movement in America, he said. That's not something we probably would have said 20 years ago. So this is my opinion. So since I started talking about gun policies and laws, something that I really learned in the short amount of time of doing this, that as time moves on, I did not realize how many states did not have concealed weapon permits. I did not realize how many states did not allow open carry. Based on my research, I cannot remember off the top of my head, but back in the 1980s, there was literally only like a couple of states that would issue a concealed weapon permit and that would allow a citizen to carry a concealed handgun. Now we have more than 20 states. So on one hand, our ability to keep and bear arms has been expanded, good, as it should be, because that is what the Second Amendment says, it shall not be infringed. But on the other hand, every time we get a win, these guys are always coming back 20 times harder. to try to trample all over our rights constantly. So it's kind of a weird thing. It feels like on one hand we're losing ground, but on average over the years we're not. But like I always say, and everyone here already knows this, you don't need me to tell you, but the fight to keep our Second Amendment, it'll never stop. And these guys get more radical, they get crazier. This is crazier than anything that came out of California or New York. Last night I was doing a live stream and they were talking about what's that website? Palmetto State Armory. In big red letters, it said we're no longer able to ship things, guns and magazines to Oregon because of this measure 114. And to me, that's just surreal to see that in our country. Not old. I was born in 1985. I grew up with guns in my house. That was a normal thing. And so I just, it's surreal to me to see something like this. And I lived in Idaho for most of my childhood, and I remember only a few times, but being able to go into Oregon and go target shooting or whatever. It really wasn't much second thought to it. Now I travel from Alaska to Idaho to visit family. That means I go through Washington, and you guys see what happened in Washington with the standard capacity magazine bans and whatnot. And I'm like, well, crud, now what? Do I need to go out and buy a little revolver? Do I need to go out and get 10 rounders? The whole thing is such a convoluted flipping mess. So, okay. So we already know that it was passed by a slim majority. Okay, so I'm going to read this. Don't kill the messenger. I'm just going to read this word for word because this is some of the vile garbage they like to spread, propaganda. The arc of the moral universe is bending towards justice, and justice today is going to be ending gun violence in this country. How about mental health? How about using the existing laws that we have and, I don't know, enforcing them? Gee, that seems to work. That's a good start, at least. That's why I trust this process will work. And a year and a half, 2 years from now, it'll be 70% of the population saying this was the right thing to do, not 51% that passed it. You know why I disagree with that statement? Because I worked in corrections for 9 years. I worked for the Nevada Department of Corrections. I worked for the Alaska Department of Correction. In fact, I attended community college at Treasure Valley Community College in Ontario, Oregon. And I did an internship with the Oregon Department of Corrections. I've seen a prison system in Oregon that does nothing but pander to inmates, and they skew the recidivism rate numbers to make it look like they're being really successful. They're not. They'll let sex offenders out, and because they don't qualify as high level of reoffending, they're not required to they're required to register, so law enforcement knows where they're at. But citizens like you and I that have kids, we don't know that the next door neighbor may have just gotten released out of Snake River Correctional Institution because the nasty freak was diddling 9-year-olds. So what they do, that's how they skew that's why Oregon has one of the lowest recidivism rates in the nation. Not because of what they're doing is right. It's because of the misreporting and how they like to skew the data, right? Now, a complete polar opposite at the time when I worked for Nevada Department of Correction. They'd shoot inmates. We had 12 gauges inside the control rooms, inside the pods. So you'd have a pod. You'd have for example, A side and B side. You'd have the Alpha and the Bravo side. Then there'd be a separating wall. There'd be a secured man door that control would have to pop. And then we'd be several feet up off the ground, 12 feet or something. Windows on each side, gun ports, roll the window open, rack the 12 gauge, Remington 870. Stop fighting or I'll shoot. They didn't fucking play in Nevada. My point is, when you get these criminals and they let sex offenders out, they turn them out quicker than, say, someone that got jammed up on a first-time drug offense. Okay, there's people that get jammed up for drugs. They're addicted. They get caught with some methamphetamine, and there's a lot of success stories. They go in, they get clean, they have a job while they're inside. They're hardworking. They stay out of trouble. They keep their nose clean. They make parole. They get out, and guess what? You never hear from these people again. They're not what we would call the retreads, meaning they would come back. That's what we called them. We'd send an inmate out. Less than 6 months later, they're back. We call them a retread. So, but they keep letting the career criminals out. Well, here's the thing. They don't even enforce the laws that we already have. But they want to blame you. They want to blame me. They want to blame the inanimate object. Gun doesn't just grow 2 legs and walk across the street and shoot up a school. That's a bunch of garbage. They know it's garbage. They want to impede the law-abiding citizen. They want to punish us because of what something like 2% of the country does. Something like, if I remember right, based on the federal stats, it's a small number. It's literally like 2%. No, it's not a live hearing. So what I'm doing is, the hearing was set for 10 a.m. Oregon time. So that means it's going on now. And so we're just going through, and I'm looking at different media outlets and just refreshing to see if there is something that comes across that says, hey, the injunction was granted, the injunction was denied, and then why. So that's what we're waiting for. So we were just responding to this piece in this article about why punish Second Amendment advocates, why punish law-abiding gun owners. What's the old saying, the cliche saying, 100 million gun owners did not kill somebody today? All right, I'm just refreshing here on this other website to see if there's something. Okay. So far, Measure 114, it's just a article from 15 hours ago, faces new challenges. A lot more plaintiffs jumped in. And the other issue that I also have is the police. Going to the police to ask for your rights seems really dystopian to me. I think it's weird. It seems dystopian. It seems tyrannical. I'm used to being able to just, when I had my concealed weapon permit in Idaho, I could walk in, pay my money, and walk out in 10 minutes, right? Or do a private sale. This completely stops private sales. This is insane. All right. Let's go through the rest of this. So I have another one I refreshed. I haven't seen anything yet. Okay, so the biggest legal flashpoint is a ban on magazines over 10 rounds unless they are owned by law enforcement or military members or were owned before the measure's passage. Those who already own high-capacity magazines can only possess them in their homes or use them at a firing range, in shooting competitions, or for hunting as allowed by state law after the measure takes effect. So what happens when you're en route to a shooting range and you have a standard capacity Glock 17 magazine that holds 17 rounds? The left will call that high capacity. We call that standard capacity because that's standard out of the factory. So what happens when you're in one of these blue cities, blue counties, like Multnomah, for example, where the sheriff tells you, be patient, wait for your rights? They pull you over. And the law-abiding citizen that you are, I'm where are you coming from? Where are you heading to? Stupid question. Where are you coming from? My house. Where are you heading? Firing range. Oh, really? Yeah. Then they, find out, oh, you've got a Glock 17. Ooh, high capacity. Now what? Is that fair game for them now to what would be a stop for speeding or something stupid? Now all of a sudden turns into we're going to search your car, go through everything, run the I mean, holy cow. Dystopian. And of course, now this is my other issue with this. It says the state will keep a list of permit holders that exempt from public disclosure. And then $65 permits will be good for 5 years and can be used to buy multiple guns in that 5-year period with a fresh background check. Now, what if somebody is not able to afford $65? So not picking on, I mean, there's just as many single dads out there as there are single mothers. Inflation is running hot. Fuel prices are high. Housing is expensive. What if somebody literally cannot afford $65? That's like saying, well, you don't have to pay. They can't make you pay a poll tax to go vote, but they can somehow put like this tax, this fee on your right. It doesn't matter who you are. If you live paycheck to paycheck, or if you're just some millionaire, doesn't matter who you are. You can be the bum on the street. You have the right to keep and bear arms, and you have the right to protect yourself. So here's the thing. Oh yeah, you're right about. See, this is why I have smarter people in here than me. This, and I've said this before, and I'm glad you brought this point. The $65 doesn't even include the price of the class or the time off likely needed. So there you go. So you have the $65. What does a class cost anymore? I know locally to take a concealed weapon permit class in Alaska, it's about $100 on the low end. You're looking at about $150, but realistically, you're looking at around $225. So let's just assume the high end numbers, because now there's going to be a monopoly on this. People are going to charge because now you're going to have this supply and demand. You're going to have no supply of classes, limited to almost no availability of instructors, but you're going to have, I don't even know what to say, tens of thousands of people needing this instruction all of a sudden. So here's my thing. Hundreds of dollars to access your Second Amendment rights to keep and bear arms. There's people out there that live paycheck to paycheck. They can barely afford to keep gas in their car to get to work. They can barely afford groceries. Do they not have the right to keep and bear arms? Do they not have the right to protect themselves? So now when you require this $65 fee, and like with this person here, dumb, that's a funny name. Now these people get precluded. This is absurd. So and how long will it take to get a class? That's my next question. How long will it take to get a class? So all these classes, let's say this did get implemented theoretically. All these classes will take forever to get into because you know how to go, everyone will beat you to it kind of thing. What if you don't even own a gun? But you're a single mom living in the rough areas of Portland where Antifa and BLM are running around tearing shit up like they were during that summer of love. Or you're a single dad. It doesn't matter. You could be a married couple. I don't care. You could be a boyfriend, girlfriend, living. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Do those people have any less right to keep and bear arms? Is that fair? No. That's garbage is what that is. So they know there's a lot of people that would not be able to comply with this. And then like this person says, the time off that you need for work. It's hard enough sometimes to get a sick day, let alone, well, hey, I need a day off, take a gun class, you know. Good luck. So now there's a high likelihood you're going to lose pay, your hourly pay, wages, whatever. This is insane. How's it going, Blue? Blue made it. Blue's been here since literally day one. I haven't really been around that long anyway, but anyway. All right, guys, give me 1 minute. Let me go through, let me refresh and see if we have any good or bad news yet. So just give me a minute here. And of course, if anybody finds something, you're welcome to drop it down below. So I'm looking at Coin 6 out of Portland. Oh, at least they gave a repeat car thief 5 years in prison. Hell, in Nevada, they probably would have hit him with the habitual and just given him a life sentence. A life with, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, I'm not seeing anything there. Let me cruise over. Let's see. What's one of the most liberal ones that really hates guns? Let's cruise over to CNN. Let's see. Because dang well, they're definitely gonna have it out if. Anyway, what I wanted to finish on the fees was in the court system, if a person is considered indigent, meaning like poor, low income, they meet certain low income or poverty guidelines, they can request a fee waiver. That means someone can go, whatever they need to go do in court, they can request a fee waiver. If it's getting a divorce, trying to establish paternity, just like whatever. All right, you get the idea. If a person, for example, is accused of a crime and they cannot afford an attorney, then they're afforded the right. To have a counsel appointed for them. So if that is good enough and constitutionally available, such as have an attorney appointed for you at the government expense, then theoretically, how come a person couldn't go and say, hey, I can't afford these fees and I want a fee waiver? How about that? How about that? You think they're going to do that and give a fee waiver? Hell no. They're going to laugh you right there. That's what they're going to do. All right, let's see here. My internet connection is being a little bit slow. Okay, I'm looking on CNN. Not seeing anything yet. Although it looks like Europe agrees to the price cap of Russian oil at $60 a barrel. All right. Let's see. Blue is not at the courthouse. How's it going, Miss B Haven? No, Blue is not at the courthouse. I can tell you that much. And of course, I'll drop the link again. If anybody is interested in clicking the link, you're more than welcome to come in and express your opinion, air out your frustration, whatever. You're more than welcome to. You don't have to show your face. So the link is right there. I just put it down there. Okay, where is Miss B? What are you saying here? My internet's being slow. Sorry, guys. I think it's because I have too many tabs open. Let me close one of these tabs out. Okay. So Miss B says, so the libs are saying the money for permits, some will go to help the poor obtain a permit. That is the first I've heard that. Do you think that's true? I don't buy that for a minute. They'll probably figure out a way to pocket it. You guys remember the Freedom Convoy in Canada when they started the GoFundMe and then they tried to pocket the money? Let's see. Let me look at CNN here real quick. So if I'm just quiet for a little bit, I'm glad everybody is here and supporting the channel, supporting, more importantly, our right and bear arms. This affects everybody. Let me shut that off.
Both gun violence and mass shootings have risen sharply in the U.S. in the decades that I've been reporting.
What's playing? I wonder what was playing.
And sadly, the grim reality seems to be there's no end in sight. So what should be done? Well, supporters of Oregon's new gun law, that's Measure 114, they say the law is their answer, their attempt to slow down these mass shootings. But many people who own and use guns throughout the state say the law has gone too far and in the wrong direction. And a big question remains. Will it hold up against the Second Amendment?
You guys, I rarely have problem with this internet stream, and all of a sudden I do this thing on guns, and now I'm having trouble with it.
The big question remains. Will it hold up against the...
Coincidence? I don't know. Let me just shut that off. It's more of a detriment. Who was that? Was that Lawrence O'Donnell on there crying like a baby again? So, yeah, sorry about that. All right. Let me look. I do have an article I could read to you guys here, a little bit of a different take on this. Okay, so I'm going to shut down CNN's. Look at the comments here. Blue says StreamYard's scary. No, it's not. Believe me, if I can get on here and do it, anybody can do it. That is true. I'm so glad Miss B. Haven came on here and let us know that it was 10 o'clock because I didn't know that. Truth Warrior is here. So Truth Warrior, forgive me for saying, I hope this isn't... Truth Warrior is, correct me if I'm wrong, Truth Warrior is a first-time gun owner. And I know Truth Warrior from a different YouTube community. Truth Warrior is a first-time gun owner. So that's pretty cool. We always like to welcome new people into the Second Amendment community, not ostracize them, you know. Help them, show them, teach them the ropes. So we're glad Truth Warrior is here. How's it going? You staying busy? Misbehaving. Well, it's been hell. I'm in gun sales. Perfect. You're the one that should be hitting the StreamYard. For sure you should be jumping on. What are you seeing? I am curious about this. So people during the pandemic era went and bought guns, and for the first time they weren't gun owners prior. And so, of course, we saw the shortages, the ammunition shortages and whatnot. I am curious, do you see a lot of those guns coming back? Because I see a little bit of that up here. And a couple of our FFLs up here have said they've had a lot of Glocks come back because for whatever reason, that just seems to be the gun that everyone goes out and buys. First-time gun buyers. I'm not knocking on them or anything. I'm just saying that's – but anyway – but these people that were first-time gun buyers really weren't gun enthusiasts. They were just scared because of the political climate, defunding the police, the crime running rampant through the country. Rightfully so, they were scared. But now things, you know, have calmed down. You're not seeing the riots every day and all that. I'm just curious if you're seeing some of those coming back now. Truth Warrior... Yeah, my internet's being a little buggy. Been here listening at work. Cool. Thank you. Miss B said no. Miss Behaven says no. And Truth Warrior also. Yes, I'm a first-time gun owner. I'm at work and yes, been busy. Hell yeah. There you go, you guys. First-time gun owner right there. Hell yeah. Everyone let her know she's awesome. Only so okay, you don't return them. Okay. So and let me clarify, Misbehaving. I was talking to the FFL's like some pawn shops. So people would literally go to our local Sportsman's Warehouse. They would go buy whatever handgun they would buy, and then they would end up just selling them back at a pawn shop for, 50 cents on the dollar kind of thing, 40 cents on the dollar, because they're like, I'm not going to use it, don't need it. They're not really a gun enthusiast to begin with. And then on the secondary market for a while, there's been a flood of firearms, and they're coming and they'll say like, for example, 9mm handgun and 200 rounds of ammunition never fired, but it's being sold at a used price. So I've seen a lot of that around here, mostly with handguns though, not with rifles. I love this name, Dumb Jit. This is funny as hell. Local FFL was out of guns in Washington County, only had a Kel-Tec 43X. So they had it. Okay, so this was the next question I was going to ask, if you guys agree or disagree. So every time the Democrats go and they rock the boat with these gun issues and they start threatening everybody, is it your opinion that, I mean, we know that they go out and these guys, they run out and everyone goes out and panic buys. They panic buy the ammo, they panic buy the guns. So it causes this flood of new firearm owners, jumping in on the fear of missing out thing, thinking, they're actually going to really fully get rid of them forever or something, I guess. And then, but it puts the Democrats, they don't want guns and ammo on the street. Do you think if they just kept their mouths shut and just let it be, there wouldn't be this big rush on guns and ammo like what's been going on, like Dumb Jit, that's the funny name, says about in Washington with the capacity ban, the magazine bans, or look in Oregon, the FFLs, the guns and everything was flying off the shelf, according to reports over the last, few weeks. If they had just left it alone, they would have less guns on the streets, the way Democrats put it, if they had just kept their mouth shut. That's just my opinion. Yeah, I saw that, County. I know what you meant. Okay, who else do we have here? Donnie Vasquez. Appreciate you streaming this, man. Hard to find a follow on this. I'm trying, you guys. So here in about 30 seconds, I'm gonna go through and see if I can refresh and find something here for us. So if I go quiet for a little bit, it's because I'm concentrating. I'm not ignoring, and I'm not trying to be. And you know what? I'm not a pro. I've only been doing this for a handful of weeks. So, anyway. So I'm glad that everybody is here. Because if y'all weren't here, there would be no point, right? Okay. Misbehaving. That's a funny name too. We have hundreds locked up waiting for background check. Wow. It'll be a nightmare if they cancel all background checks on the 8th. Okay, so Misbehaving, they would have to cancel the background checks. Is that correct? Because of the new law? So does that mean, okay, so let me ask it this way. Misbehaving, I come to your shop to buy a gun today, for example, and I'm delayed or whatever the thing is, right? The 8th rolls around and I'm still not proceeded. Does that mean that I have to refill out the 4473 and basically start over to be compliant with Oregon's law? That's up in the air still. Okay. See, right there. There's Misbehaving right there that sells the firearms and knows and is living this daily, So, okay, misbehaving. I have another question, if you don't mind answering. What happens to the livelihood of all of these FFLs if the let's say there's not an injunction put in place? The judge says this is allowed to go through, whatever. What happens then? I mean, is it literally feast or famine? I guess it depends on how diverse your store is. If your store doesn't just hinge on guns, but there's a YouTube channel out there I found during all this called the Cimarron. This really cool guy in Oregon, and I felt horrible for the guy. The guy looked like a really nice guy. He looked like someone that within reason would probably take the shirt off his back to just about help almost anybody. He gave me that kind of vibe. And he was showing, I don't remember the rifle, you guys. It was I don't remember the rifle, but I know it was manufactured before 1899. And because it was capable of holding more than 10 rounds, Oregon now would have classified it as an assault weapon. And, so people like him. And there's so many more like him. Rudy Avalon says, there's so much up in the air, it sucks. I work at a gun shop too, and it's crazy. Rudy, if you go up in the chat just a little bit, I did post a link. So if you are able and willing to come on and talk about this to help some of us that don't work in gun shops, that don't understand it, like as well as you or misbehaving would, you're welcome to come on and talk about it. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to. And misbehaving says some will go belly up. That is unfortunate. And you know what? Is this by design? Is this partly what they want to do? I heard a noise out there, and just I heard some noise out there, and the other day we had moose and a couple calves walking around out here, and they were licking our car and whatnot. And it's almost 10 o'clock. We just now getting sunrise. So I was like, what's out there? Okay. Some with FFL are now going by the 72-hour hold if background check not completed and letting guns leave. Okay. All right. Cool. Well, not cool, but cool meaning thank you for the information. All right. Give me a minute here, guys. Let me go through. Let me check the Fox News website. Let me refresh. So just give me a minute here. I'm not seeing anything on the Fox News channel yet. I am going to click on this thing. The headline says strict gun control law faces legal challenge. I do want to see, because all these stories are kind of the same, but sometimes there's a little snippet in there that's slightly different than what was. So the headline on this is, they say, blatantly unconstitutional strict gun control law faces new NRA-backed legal challenge. Well, I'm glad the NRA finally decided to show up to the fight. You had Second Amendment Foundation, the Firearms Policy Coalition, and the Oregon. Oh, here it is right here. The Oregon something, the Firearms something. Anyway, just these, Gun Owners of America, etc. Let's see. Okay, so this is what this person here says. Oregon's Measure 114 is blatantly unconstitutional. Lawrence G. Keene, NSSF's senior vice president and general counsel, said in a statement provided to Fox News, the right to keep and bear arms begins with the ability of law-abiding citizens to be able to obtain a firearm through a lawful purchase at a firearm retailer. Yeah, that seems, pretty straightforward. Let's see. And it only passed with 50.65% of the vote. I mean, narrowly passing is literally an understatement. I'm just combing through this article to see if there's anything else out of here I could pick out that I haven't already mentioned, or, So right here, Oregon has not yet even provided the necessary funding for, let alone set up the systems required to administer its new and onerous permitting scheme. The latest lawsuit alleges, as of now, there is no firearms training course that has been certified by the state, which means that no one can lawfully obtain a permit to purchase. This is garbage. And that means now, and because of that, what a catch-22. So nothing's set up. So there's nothing for the citizen to obviously go to, which means there's no way to get a permit, which means now there's no gun sales. I'll keep going with that one here in a minute. Rudy, what does Rudy say? Laugh out loud. I can't. Okay, because I'm at work right now, rifling through guns to call people to come pick them up. Just listening while I work. Thanks for doing the stream, by the way. You are welcome. I'm going to hang in here until we have some kind of a verdict. I don't think verdict's the right word, you guys. Decision, injunction, denial, whatever. Till we get something. Misbehaving. Sheriff's departments do not have funding in place or plan to implement permits. You're right. Well, look at the Multnomah. Look at the Multnomah County. I'll pull that up here in a couple minutes. The thing with Multnomah County. I mean, I can't remember. Like some of the counties in Oregon, I can't remember off the top of my head, but like Umatilla and another one, Lynn County, they're saying we're not enforcing this. But then you get the Multnomah guy that you could tell they're all too ready to enforce it. Okay, so it looks like this is so dystopian to even read. Oregon State Police previously said they were working to get a permit to purchase system in place by the deadline, but gun store owners and concealed handgun instructor and other police organizations all told Fox News that's just too soon. We will not have a permitting process in effect on December 8th, but will continue working with agencies around the state to determine the best process for moving forward, the Eugene Police Department wrote in a statement on Thursday. So even if the police don't want to,
we're very concerned about what this is going to do for legal firearms owners in Oregon.
Even if police don't want to do this, it goes against their beliefs or everything, but they're being tasked with this. They have no money to implement this. They've all been defunded. They don't have any staff. They can't even go arrest anybody for stealing a candy bar. Where are they going to have time for this? There's some music playing. I don't know where it's coming from. Let's see here.
Sportsman stores and firearms dealers who are concerned about the effects, they're erring on the side of caution. So we have
I don't know where that noise is coming from.
Chain in the state here, and they have let everybody know that December 8th is when they're going to stop selling firearms. We're looking at the end of firearm sales in Oregon until this system is put into place. And that also means that Oregonians cannot go out of state to purchase firearms either. We're basically being held hostage by 114 because firearms dealers have to respect the laws of a person's home state. They cannot sell to you if it's going to be illegal in your state. We see the impacts of 114 on the hunting community, in that we feel very strongly it's going to impact what we refer to as the R3 efforts: recruitment, retention, and reactivation is what the R3 stands for. If Oregonians who are interested in hunting can't purchase an appropriate firearm to do that with, that's going to have a severe effect on our ability to bring new hunters into the community and see success rates that would keep folks engaged.
Can you guys hear this?
Hunters. The other aspect is for our
I actually don't know where this is coming from. It's somewhere in this Fox News thing. Can you guys hear it?
We have several shotgun models that have barrel lengths that are 21 inches or longer. And because of the new home defense rounds, which are shells that are about half the size of a normal shell, you can fit 10 or more of those into the internal tube in these shotguns, which makes them illegal because there's no stipulation on caliber or size of shell that you have to use. If it can fit 10 or more, it's going to be illegal. So that's going to make a big impact on our shotgunners and whether or not they can utilize the firearms that they have, or potentially purchase a firearm that would be appropriate for bird hunting. What it seeks to do is establish a permit to purchase system. That in itself is inherently cumbersome. They also want to add a live fire component to courses. And again, that's not something that is exceptionally commonplace for firearm safety, just because of the logistics of getting a range and getting range time and things like that, so that you can safely hold a live fire training. And it also presents a little bit of an odd chicken and the egg situation. So they're asking you to show proficiency with your firearm by being able to fire it. However, if you don't have a firearm and you are trying to get a permit to purchase a firearm, you've got this weird, cycle of, I don't have a firearm, and so therefore I can't show proficiency and I can't get a permit to purchase a firearm. There's a very real disconnect between the proponents and their understanding of firearms, firearm safety, and firearms ownership. We are a little bit encouraged by the fact that it passed by such a very narrow margin. It was not the landslide that I think the proponents were anticipating. Only 6 counties of our 36 counties carried this. And really the 2 counties that make up Portland and the center of Portland are the reason why it passed. In the mornings when I check the news, a lot of my news comes out of Portland. I'm not Portland centric. I don't live near there, but a lot of the news is generated out of Portland, and a lot of that news is about firearms violence. The gun violence term that they like to use, a lot of that is revolving around the violence in our metro areas. I think that the most charitable spin I can put on this is that they really thought they needed to do something to solve that. The unfortunate thing is that this is not going to turn into something that's going to have a very valid effect on criminal aspect of violence, which is really what is going on. Regardless of whether it's utilizing a firearm or not, it's a criminal violent act that's happening. Regulating legal firearm owners is not going to have the effect that they are desiring on that.
I think this makes it less safe for people. That was pretty cool that popped up. I don't know. I didn't want to scroll around on the screen and mess it up. So I thought it was, whatever. And during that time, I was using that time to scour through. I looked at some of the gag me liberal networks, and there's nothing on there. Looking at local Portland news. Nothing yet. So anyway, just keep waiting. That's kind of the fun with this, I guess. I don't know if it's called fun. This definitely isn't fun for the people of Oregon, but we'll hang in here. I'll hang in here at least. Hopefully some of you guys don't get too bored. I'm trying, y'all. Okay, let's see. Where were we here? So talking about the Eugene police. You think the criminals are going to keep their high capacity mags at home? No. Think they're still going to be doing private transactions on the street? Yes. Okay, so Friday, U.S. District Judge, Karen, Judge Karen, U.S. District Judge Karen Eimergut will hold a hearing on the first full suit filed by the Oregon's Firearm Federation, Sherman County Sheriff Brad Lowry, and a gun store owner. Delaying implementation of this constitutional policy while the merits are litigated would likely result in unnecessary deaths and hinder Oregon's efforts to reduce the risk of a massacre within its borders. Senior Assistant Attorney General Brian Simmons Marshall argued in court documents this week. Well, how about throw criminals in jail and quit letting them walk free? There's a start. All right. So that was kind of the end of that short article. Here's the comments section. The comment section's going pretty wild here. I don't see what people are saying about this in the comment section. So this commenter says the Supreme Court has already ruled that no government agency or law can force a person to pay for exercising a constitutional right. The Oregon law is clearly unconstitutional. Yeah. Someone replying to that one says, Oregon is ruled by dictators who have armed security. You can bet that the security people they have are not limited to 10 rounds. I'm kidding. Let's see. All right, let me go. Let's see. Let me catch up with some of our comments here. Where are we? Yeah. Oh, yeah, because we were here with Nick G. So, yeah, that wasn't the court. We're waiting for a decision. Yes, Mark says, yes, we are. Hell yes. Dang, was hoping to see some court footage. I know, me too. Me too, Nick. But you know that they probably keep it on. Can't wait to cheer when we get this injunction. Very clearly unconstitutional. Washington's mag ban might be done by Christmas too. I hope so. I hope so. Not fun for me. Yeah, I know what you mean. I probably shouldn't have said it that way. That's not how I meant it. I asked my work to give me the 411. Hey, that's a funny thing. I told my 15-year-old, I'm like, hey, I used that saying about the 411. She looked at me like, she's like, what? Okay, she's a Trump-appointed Republican, so fingers crossed. Okay, good to know. See, that's why I have people a lot smarter than me here. That's for dang sure. Misbehaving says, you wouldn't believe the people in the last 2 weeks that came in not realizing they even had to do a background check. So are these people like first-time gun owners or? Nick G says, yes, stronger punishments for the laws already on the books. Portland barely even prosecutes criminals. So let me tell you something. In the 9 years that I worked in corrections, I worked as a corrections officer. I did when I worked for Nevada Department of Correction. I did one of my jobs that I did was the security threat group investigation. So in that job, you figure out who all your gang members are, who's muling in the phones, who's muling in the dope. Then you find out who all your dirty staff members are too. But anyway, my point is this. In all the years, well, I wouldn't say all the years, in the 9 years that I did that, what I found really disturbing, I sat in on literally hundreds and hundreds of parole board hearings. and, just having to transport inmates to parole board hearings and, do that process. And sex offenders were always let out. Not only was it sex offenders that were always being granted parole and let out, seemed like it was violent criminals. But you're one time, you're one and done, drug user. No, I'm not making excuses for criminals, but I'm just saying things that were certainly does not even come close to being, to the level of a sex offense or someone that bludgeoned an 80-year-old woman for her purse and got $20 out of it. Those people were always let out. They were always granted parole, but not a first-time drug user. Not someone that, had no history of no real lengthy or any real criminal history, but maybe they had a bad habit of writing bad checks. So they were doing some time, because anyway, get the idea. So we definitely need stronger punishments, and we need the laws that we have to work. I'll get looking at my sources here in a minute. Yes, they pushed hard that this law would make it a requirement for background checks in Oregon. We've already closed the gun show loophole a decade ago, and every purchase requires one. And that's the other thing. You always hear about this thing about the gun show loophole. Like, to me, that's what's the right term for it? The language, like high capacity magazine, assault weapon, ghost guns, the gun show loophole. I have never been to a gun show where I did not have to fill out the paperwork. But you know what? Full disclosure, I've only bought a firearm one time at a gun show. Because to me, gun show is just not worth it anymore. It's a lot of price gouging and anyway, whatever. But I've seen plenty of other people doing transactions, and I've seen plenty of other people filling out a 4473 and handing their ID over. So I'm not sure what they're talking about every time they say that. Mark Scott, yes, I wondered this in the back of my mind too. Be prepared for no decision being made other than to continue the case. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. Let's see. Nick G. Yes, we have 30,000 plus people waiting for background checks. Come the 8th, it will halt. None of the existing background checks will be completed after that date, from my understanding. This is insane. Okay, misbehaving. Here we go. Karen Eimergut. I hope I'm saying that last name right. Serving 2 years in the position, she prosecuted cases involving white-collar crime and worked on Project Safe Neighborhoods, a national gun violence reduction initiative. Ooh. So there could be definitely some bias. She was a Democrat. Historically, standard capacity mags. How's it going, Lane? So here's an interesting person. For Lane lives in, correct me if I'm wrong, Lane, the Philippines or Singapore. They can own some guns there, but it's an entirely different mentality. It's just a different type of ownership. They go to ranges and target shooting. Well, Lane found our channel, and there's only literally a couple of us that get together. We'll have like 5 of us in a stream, and we talk about guns and rulings and whatnot. And Lane will come in and learn. So Lane is, when she gets back where she lives, she wants to go through the process to also go shoot a gun for the first time. And correct me if I'm wrong, Lane, I can't remember. It's like the Philippines or Singapore. So that's pretty cool. And, like we saw earlier, we had Truth Warrior here. Okay, Nick G, here we go, hitting us with the truth bombs. In Oregon, we passed Measure 110 a couple of years ago. It decriminalized all drugs. If caught, they would be offered a $100 fine or rehab. 1% of people chose rehab since 2020. I do remember that. Now that you mentioned that, and they decriminalized all the drugs. They might as well just send the cops home. Sorry, dude, I'm fired up. No, it's good because that helps all of us. Like when you and misbehaving, you guys that work in the gun industry every day and have the firsthand knowledge, it helps. Going to sleep now. I love the open here. Bit late, 3 a.m. there. All right. Well, you have a good evening, Lane. Okay, let me go check my bunch of sirens going off out there. So we got like 6 inches of snow, and all the roads have like this sheen of ice on it, and so everyone's out wrecking. Okay, Lane's in Singapore. Go back to Philippines next week. My friend. Oh, she's saying hi to everyone. Nice to meet everyone here. Have a nice day, Cody. Enjoy your day. So anyway, so that's so Lane, hoping she'll come on here one of these times, hit our link, because then she wants to go shoot guns for the first time. And in the Philippines, she'll be able to do that. Okay, so let me go check my source again. So just give me a minute here, y'all. I'll be back in about 30 seconds. Nothing on Fox. You look on the Channel 8 in Portland. You know, interesting here. So when I'm going through on the front page of KGW8, this was not here a few minutes ago. So we're waiting for this ruling, right? And there just so happens to be on the front page, Bend police release video timeline of deadly Safeway shooting. Is that a coincidence, or is that, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder about the timing of things. All right. Nothing there. Let me check one more here. I can't stand MSNBC, but I will look on there and see. So here's the other question that I have too. And I'm really asking this question. So the Bruin decision, the words were something to the effect of going back to the historical tradition or something at ratification in 1791, that's the new standard. So that means that this entire law would not meet the historical traditions of the founding of the Second Amendment and the ratification of it. So how come these politicians keep implementing these things? They keep trying to trample on the rights. Like, look at what New York was doing. How about that? I don't understand what part of that they don't get. I mean, is it just blatant, complete disregard for the ruling, for the court, for the law? it's my opinion based on when you read the Bruin decision. You know what? Let me get this MSNBS off here. There's nothing on there, and I can't stand looking at their branding. All right, hold on. Let me get this garbage off. We'll check again in a couple of minutes. But the thing is, how come they don't care? They just defy the Supreme Court? Do they literally they just don't care? Is it gotten that radical? Has it become that radical where it's like, okay, yeah, the Supreme Court made the ruling, but you know what? We're going to just do our own damn thing. Are there any consequences? Washington State is trying to do this capacity ban. Look what we're waiting for in real time with this Oregon decision. How come Bruin didn't just automatically just blanket party all this crap and just put a stop to it? That's the legal aspect that I do not understand. Or is there really nothing to understand other than they're just blatantly defying the Supreme Court now? No coincidences. Yeah. The shooting was in September. The public wanted the release of the videos, so we got it. On the day that my understanding of 114 is it was on the ballot before the Bruin ruling. So it was there for, we still voted for it. Yeah. But even still, obviously I don't know enough about that, but it just seems like that would just nullify whatever was out there. Okay, let's see. Washington gun law. Yes, I've checked them out several times. I like that channel. I watched that channel once in a while, here and there, and that's my thing. Like I had emailed them a question about the importation, because what'll happen is, so we are a family of 5. It is very expensive for us to fly all the way from Anchorage down to Boise. So often what we do is we have the Club 49 deal where 5 of us, we just fly to Seattle. We just get down to the lower 48. And then from Seattle, we drive the rest of the way to Idaho. And so that means we're traversing Washington. So I would carry a standard capacity handgun that, is capable of holding 17 rounds in the magazine. But now he was saying that the importation, from what I understand, doesn't count with just passing through. But when I look at the definition of importation, it doesn't use the term just passing through. It means like just to do literally that, to just introduce it or bring it into their city, or into the state or wherever. So anyway, you know what I mean, what my concern is with that. So I'm not really sure what to do there. Probably have to go out and buy a pocket rocket now. This is what happens when states knowingly pass unconstitutional bills. I do wonder if there's a component to this where it's literally throw as much crap as they can at the wall and see what will stick. Like these people, they know this is completely unconstitutional. They just know it from the jump, right? But they're like, well, let's put in the permitting, let's put in the fees, let's put in the magazine, the capacity ban. Let's just throw all this stuff in, throw it in the ball, and then whoop. Okay, cool. So the court struck down this, and this, but we get to keep our fees. And I don't know. You can legally pass through in Washington, but if 114 passes, it's a misdemeanor in Oregon to carry one for self-defense. Exactly. Since when is it a misdemeanor to protect yourself? And again, the traditional historical, I can't remember the exact words that was used with Bruin, but it was like the traditional or historical writings of the Second Amendment says it shall not be infringed. Doesn't say shall not be infringed after you pay your $65 fee, after you go on bended knee to the police and ask and whine and cry and grovel for your rights. Doesn't say any of that. Doesn't say you have to fill out a 4473. Now, let me get to Rudy's comment, and then I'll tell you something through doing YouTube and researching a huge piece of well, I'll tell you in a sec. Okay. Yeah, look up what it takes to get a measure on the ballot. I think it's just a bunch of signatures. Doesn't even have to be legal to be voted on, I'm pretty sure. I'm guessing I bet the threshold is probably pretty low. Like you said, just get a bunch of these guys probably go out there with a clipboard and go stand out in front of Safeway or the grocery store, you know. Because here's the thing. Okay, let me tell you this. So they would be out. There was somebody locally here that was doing petitions for gathering signatures, something abortion related. All I know is that it was abortion related, but I don't think it was abortion related in the way that I view abortion, which I am completely against. I am pro-life. So my thing is this. You know, I'm wearing I was at the time I was going to the grocery store with Autumn, my wife. I was wearing a white Bass Pro hat. I was wearing like a hunting camo jacket. You know, I just didn't scream. My appearance didn't scream, you know, Antifa or whatever. I don't know. So the girl was out there gathering signatures. She looked right at me. She didn't say a flipping word to me, but she grabbed the hippie looking dude and was like, hey, blah, 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 blah. And dude's like, okay. And just saying. So so that could be one way, you know, they profile people. Like, oh, this person looks like, you know, got a, you know, drinking out of a Bass Pro cup or something. So not going to give us a signature. Okay, about 30 people waiting outside the doors to U.S. District Judge Karen Eimergut's courtroom this morning to hear argument on emergency motion for temporary restraining order against new Oregon's new gun control. Court has opened an overflow courtroom 10 a.m. in federal courthouse to accommodate the crowd. That was just before 10 a.m. All right, cool. So there's a massive support. So that's good news. So Misbehaving is coming in with all of the facts. So okay, I want to say one thing here that is completely not gun related. So my wife she is on the kidney transplant list. She is looking for a kidney. So I generally plug this in all of my lives. And that's part of why we also do our channel, is because we're looking for a kidney for her. She's been on the transplant list now for just over 5 years. She is type O. I mean, closer to 6 years. Yeah.
No, I'm already 6 years.
Oh, you're at 6 years? Okay. But anyway, you guys, so this is unrelated. Just give me a second. So in parentheses there, help Autumn see many more summers from Alaska. That is her Facebook page. She's sick. So she's type O, waiting for a kidney. And then that's our email address right there. So if anybody is interested in being a donor or can help maybe share the word. The issue that we have is that her antibodies are very high, and she is going through treatments to help lower those antibodies. So she is a stronger candidate to be able to receive a kidney. We go through the Swedish Transplant Center. She goes through the Swedish Transplant Center in Seattle. And So that's basically that. So we are, she's what's called status 5. Status 5 is the most needed, like right now, just because she's had a lot of medical issues with access in her port. She had to have a graft put in her leg. It's been pretty difficult. So anyway, we're just trying to find a donor out there, spread the word any way we can, and this has been a really good way to do that. This is not about money. There's no amount of money that would help in this situation. We are literally just trying to find a potential match so she could get a kidney. So anyway, so that's her Facebook page, and that is our email address right there. So if anybody has any questions, is interested in donating, or maybe I know somebody, right there. So anyway, so thanks for hearing me out on that for a minute, because we were badly trying to find her a kidney. We got to find her a kidney. I gotta help try to find her a kidney. I mean, who else is gonna go out and whoop my ass using a 10 millimeter out at the gun range? She shoots the Springfield XDM Elite 3.8 inch. I shoot the Glock 20 4.6 inch barrel. Yeah, Autumn says hers is better. You know what? It kind of is.
You actually admitted that. You need to say that a little louder. I couldn't
Yeah.
hear you.
All right. Let me get. Okay. Comments. Oh, thank you, Misbehaving. Yeah, I like to make sure I put that in try to put that in all of our live streams. Just be like, hey, and a lot of people that come here regularly, they help share it. They've helped shared it and whatnot. So it's pretty cool. All right. All right, guys. Let me check some stuff here real quick. So give me a minute. Let's see. All right, let me look at one of the Oregon. One of the Oregon outlets here. I'm still not seeing anything. I checked the Fox News site real quick. I checking. What is this website? Coin6 in Portland. Nothing yet. And just for the heck of it, let me cruise over to CNN and see if there's anything yet. Let's see. I never go on CNN, but I figure if something comes out they don't like, they're going to blast it on here. So I'm not seeing anything yet. Okay. No. Let's see. Let me get their face off there. I don't want to see Pelosi's mug on there. Oops. I accidentally took myself out. Sorry. All right. Let me get back up to my shared screen. All right, let's jump back over to the comment section. So, what do we have here? I just bought the BRG9 Elite and going to take it out today and throw the first rounds. Nice. It's always fun to get a new gun and go out and shoot it for the first time. A couple years ago, Santa Claus brought me a Glock 20, 10 millimeter. Bi-Mart store. I used to go to Bi-Mart all the time when I was in Idaho and Oregon. Okay, so let me see here what else I can find. Go back. Let's look at the FPC website. See if they have any. See if they have any kind of updates or anything like that on their website. Let's see. So here in Alaska, we have this duty to inform law. So it's kind of weird. They say that we're constitutional carry. I kind of question that. And the reason why I say that, so we're, permitless. You just got to be 21 and whatnot. But anyway, they have this thing where you're required to tell the law enforcement officer. That has to be like, the first thing out of your mouth, right? And my thing is this, is I feel like that actually makes it less safe because you're already going to have potentially you're going to potentially have a already nervous police officer, and then they're telling you, then you're telling that you have this firearm, and I don't know. I personally I don't like it. And so when I called around to the prosecutor's office up here. I called the Alaska court system. I called the Alaska State Troopers. I called Wasilla City Police Department, and I asked them. I said, I asked them all the same question. How many times have you guys charged somebody with failure to comply with this duty to inform? Nobody had any information, and the Alaska court system said, I don't think we've ever seen that come through here. So it sounds like to me it's something they don't really enforce. I had one incident where I had witnessed an accident, and so I had law enforcement contact as a result. And I was in my car, I was talking to them, and and the police was just doing their thing. They're kind of looking, just doing their thing. And we were probably 10 minutes in, and then I remembered I had the damn gun in the car, and he was just, doing his cop thing. I said, oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you I carry a firearm. And he's like, oh, he goes, yeah, everyone around here does. He goes, that's nothing new. He goes like, well, what kind do you have? And told him, and he's like, "Oh man, that's cool." He's like, "I was thinking about getting that. Well, I have this." And anyway, it turned into this like 10-minute conversation about 10 millimeter versus 45 ACP. And anyway, but I personally do not like duty to inform, because it's just my opinion that it's none of their damn business. And number two, you take potentially an already nervous cop and you're like, oh, hey, I got this gun. And then now you have someone that is, rookie, get someone that's suffering from PTSD. So they're already on edge. And now you make, a move to grab something that they're asking for, like a document or something. And the next thing you know, you're getting lit up. I personally don't like it. I think it's risky. I wish they'd get rid of it. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see what FPC has to say in this article. So the FPC, they filed a lawsuit. So it looks like they've probably joined this, I'm guessing. So yeah. Okay, so the complaint and motion. Okay, so the FPC on November 30th, the Firearms Policy Coalition announced today, so on the 30th, it has filed a new Second Amendment lawsuit challenging Oregon's Measure 114 ban on magazines that can hold more than 10 rounds, and requested a temporary restraining order to prevent the ban from being enforced while the case continues. The complaint motion in Fitz v. Rosenblum can be viewed at fpclegal.org. We should open that up and look at it. Might be interesting. Okay, let's see what else they have in here. Might be interesting. Today's filings are proof yet again that when statist ideologues attempt to unilaterally restrict the rights of peaceful people, FPC will step up and fight back, said FPC Director of Legal Operations Bill Sack. And the good people of Oregon should keep their eyes peeled for additional FPC responses to the incredibly flawed ballot measure 114. Hell yes. FPC is joined in this lawsuit by the Second Amendment Foundation. And then, of course, they go on here to say, anyone that wants to, join or make a contribution. And you can also find them on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Firearmspolicy.org. Let's go in and look at let me check here real quick. And let me see if, before I open this, let me do a quick check on everything. I'm checking using my iPhone here. See if there's anything out yet. I guess I was wrong. I kind of figured, okay, they'll have a hearing. This will probably go on for, it's just a preliminary. They're just looking for an injunction. It's not like a trial or anything. So I figured, they'll probably have something out relatively quick. This is taking longer than what I expected. Or they already know, but they're keeping it quiet. Okay, so nothing on that. Let me check Fox again, see if there's anything. I do want to open this up, though, and read it. Let's see here. See if this is the complaint. All right, let's go through the complaint. So I checked some of my stuff. I can't see anything yet. Jerry Yut. How's it going, Jerry? 45 is God's chosen caliber. I used to have a 45 gap. That was a weird. I don't know where this sound is coming from. Oh, that's Autumn's phone. Never mind. Sorry. I thought I was hearing it here. Yeah, I used to shoot the 45 gap, but that ammo was crazy expensive, but it was such a weird oddball caliber. I had to get it and try it. Anyway. Only because they don't make a 46. That is funny. 45 ACP and 4570. I would love to try a 4570 and own one. A lot of people have them little 4570s. I think like Henry makes one or something. Call them like a little bush gun. It's like a carbine, lever action. Those are real popular up here. Jake Baird, how's it going? What are you guys' thoughts on multiple lawsuits? Should we have a bunch of just one at a time? Yeah. I like the idea of tons and hit them hard and hit them fast from all angles. That's the idea I like. Hit them with everything. Legally. The reason for multiple is to financially hurt one side. The anti-gun side has way more money to fight many cases than we do. They absolutely do. And look at that. What's that powerhouse group? Everytown. Man, Everytown has their damn hands. Well, in every town, like literally in everything. You know, and they say, you know, they get a lot of Soros-backed money and whatnot. Let's see, what else do we have here? Let's see. Let me scroll up. NRA plus suit. Rudy says multiple also because you get it before judges, which may lean in or out of your favor. Yeah. Well, and I think, and I don't know this for sure. Last night, you guys, we did a stream on the Sig Sauer P320 lawsuit that was filed, and it's got multiple plaintiffs. I don't know. It's got like 20 plaintiffs or something versus Sig. And what it is, it's people from all ends of the country, Texas and Arizona, Oklahoma, Vermont, Connecticut, Wisconsin. You get the idea. These are like former law enforcement officers, current law enforcement officers, you know, where they're alleging the gun did an uncommanded fire. So they're now taking Sig to court. But the question that I was asking, and that some of us were wondering, you know, with the chat, and I was wondering, why did they choose the New Hampshire, the U.S. District Court of New Hampshire? That's all. Is it because it's very liberal, it's anti-gun, so they're more likely to get a jury pool that will favor them and more likely to get a verdict in their favor because they put right on the filing jury trial demanded. That was almost literally the exact words, demanded. Only one that matters will be before a Supreme Court. Only one can really get the ruling. First one is the final one unless there's no ruling. Yeah. $76,000 was raised to fight 114, and over $2 million was raised to pass it. We got blown out of the water. Exactly. Now, why is that? Is it because, well, number one, we don't have, you know, the Soros money and all that funding our side, but are we complacent? I do wonder that, you know, do we just take it for granted? Are we complacent? because, the Bruin decision makes it sound like it's kind of the end all be all. It doesn't matter what you guys say or do. Guns are here to stay. You can't do this. You can't do that. That's the way it seems, but that's not what's happening. So I'm wondering if there's complacency, as if that's part of what we're seeing, if that's a component to this. How's it going, Corey? Do you guys think the duration of the hearing implicates a decision one way or another? That's a really good question. I don't know. Do you guys wonder that too? I mean, it seems like to get an injunction, these things aren't overly burdensome. I mean, one side talks, the other side talks, and then the other side gets to the rebuttal. They get a rebuttal. That's how it works in court. The one bringing the complaint gets to lay the foundation. They get to speak first. Then the respondent or the defendant, then they get to, get up there and talk and do their thing and rebut. And then the person that brought the claim gets to rebut the rebut. That's how it works in the court. And I do wonder why it's taking this long. Is it because, like Miss Behaven was saying earlier, it's just really packed? Is there a lot to unpack with this just to get a temporary injunction? Or is there already a decision made? The media is keeping it quiet because it's not in their favor. Maybe the judge is sitting on it. I don't know. I gave the link above for the NRA's suit. Oh, I don't know if I didn't see it. Hold on. Let me all right, hold on. Where's Misbehaving at? All right. You should be able to drop the link now for everybody to see for Misbehaving. Okay, let's see here. Nick says no one really knew about the law until it was too late. I heard about it in like September and started buying. The writing was on the wall. Yeah. Kind of a sneak attack. And then hit everybody last minute, bombard the state. Probably bombarded YouTube and all the news outlets with Measure 1, vote yes on 114, They also lied about what it would mean for Oregonians. It is way worse than they advertised it on Hulu and other advertisements. Oh, yeah, agree. For weeks and weeks, every single damn YouTube ad was for Lisa Murkowski up here. No one really wanted Lisa Murkowski. But through ranked choice voting, she won, I guess. The judge doesn't allow phones on in her courtroom. Hopefully, if there's a break soon, we'll get some info. I hope so. My understanding is this bill should have been like 4 measures. Instead, they wrapped them all up into one for 114. And that's what I think, like what you're saying. If they were going to do this, it probably should have been, but they probably figured it was shaky anyway. They just threw it all in one, threw it at the wall to see what the hell would stick. Portland, Oregon just passed a local measure for ranked voting. Sounds dumb. It's horrible. I did the ranked voting up here in Alaska. It was horrible. So you have, for example, I don't know, just to keep this simple, I still didn't even fully understand it when I went into the ballot box. So there was into the ballot booth rather. So there was like a direction sheet, like right in front of you. So I'm reading this and saying, okay, so you have candidate 1 through 3, for example. And you're like, okay, I want candidate number 1. What about candidate number 2? Well, candidate number 2, they'd be like my third choice, for example. And candidate, you get what I'm saying. And then they count, and then it goes through another. You guys, it's stupid. It's stupid. It's hard for me to explain because I still didn't even fully understand it. And some of the candidates, there was no way I wouldn't even rank them, period. So I didn't even rank them. I didn't even vote for them. I'm like, all right, did I screw my vote? I don't know. All right. Let me look here at. All right, so let me check the feeds real quick one more time before I. Have you seen a map of how Oregon voted? It was a couple of counties that have the majority of the population and they lean left. Yes, I did see that. We got to pull one of those up. Let me check all this real quick just to make sure there's not something out there. Hold on. Well, and I saw that the Greater Idaho movement seems to be gaining even more traction. Hey, dog. All right, let's see. I'm looking at these websites real quick, see if there's anything out. I'm not seeing anything yet. Okay. Ranked voting did what it was supposed to, then confused you, and now you don't know who you vote. I know. It's true. I mean, so I know who I voted for the first round and in the second round. Okay, so here's an example. Mary Peltola, the Democrat that won to represent Alaska. I didn't vote for her. I didn't even rank her. I just left her blank. So I don't know. So my votes went to one person, but then then in the second round, when they tabulated the votes in the second round, I guess it went to, if that person didn't win, then your votes went to that other. I don't flipping know. I don't even know who I voted for. You're right. I don't even know who I voted for, I guess. Ranked choice sucks. And there is a person out here where I live that is starting an initiative for 2024 to get ranked choice gone. Let's go through this complaint. I just checked the news. I'm not seeing anything yet. Let me check the Portland one real quick. We can go through this, see what the FPC has to say. See what they put in their complaint asking for injunctive relief. All right. Make sure that's up on StreamYard. There we go. Okay, so in the United States District Court for the District of Oregon, Portland Division. Okay, so obviously here's our plaintiffs. So Mark Fitz, Gray Guns Inc., G4 Archery, Second Amendment Foundation, and the Firearms Policy Coalition versus Ellen Rosenblum, Attorney General for the state of Oregon, and Terry Davey, Superintendent of the Oregon State Police. So that's who they're suing. Okay, so here's the language that FPC put in their complaint. Nature of the action. Number one, the state of Oregon has criminalized one of the most common and important means by which citizens can exercise their fundamental right of self-defense by banning the manufacture, importation, possession, use, purchase, sale, or transfer of ammunition magazines capable of holding more than 10 rounds. Standard capacity magazines. The state has barred law-abiding residents from legally acquiring or possessing common ammunition magazines and deprived them of effective means for self-defense. Okay, number two, absent relief from this court, defendants will violate the constitutionally protected rights of Oregon's law-abiding citizens and reinforce the erroneous notion that the right to keep and bear arms is nothing more than a, quote, second-class right, subject to an entirely different body of rules than the other Bill of Rights guarantees. And that's McDonald v. City of Chicago. That's some case law that they are citing. Worse yet, defendants will commit these constitutional violations without any realistic prospect of diminishing the misuse of firearms or the incidence of horrific mass shootings. The state's ban on standard capacity magazines will do nothing to address or ameliorate these public policy concerns. All it will do is leave law-abiding citizens more vulnerable to attack from better armed and more ruthless assailants. That is a hell of a way to put it. I like that. From better armed and more ruthless assailants. This emboldens the assailants. We already know that, but I'm just glad they have it in writing. Number 4, during uncertain times, with the recognition that governments have no legal duty to protect the people they serve, there is no guarantee that law enforcement will respond to an individual's 911 call during a crisis or after it, let alone in time to prevent a crime. And those who choose to exercise the fundamental and individual Second and 14th Amendment protected rights cannot be denied those rights. 14th Amendment, equal protection of the law. All right, so now they're looking for declaratory judgment and injunctive relief. Uncertain times are precisely when fundamental rights like the right to keep and bear arms for self-defense must be protected. Let's see, number 5 of the affidavit says this issue is an open one. Although the Ninth Circuit previously rejected a Second and 14th Amendment challenge to California's similar restrictions on standard capacity magazines in Duncan v. Bonta. And then, of course, they're citing some more here. That decision was vacated by the Supreme Court in light of New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruin, and appropriately so. Following Bruin, Duncan's controlling rationale is irrelevant to whether or not a law is unconstitutional under the Second Amendment. Number 6, Duncan declined to decide definitively whether standard capacity magazines fall outside the scope of the Second Amendment because they qualify as weapons that are most useful in military service or because limitations on them were long-standing. Instead, the Ninth Circuit upheld California's restrictions under intermediate scrutiny, holding it was, quote, a reasonable fit for the compelling goal of reducing gun violence, which we know BS. In Bruin, the court rejected this two-step approach as, quote, one step too many, and held that the appropriate standard for applying the Second Amendment is as follows. When the Second Amendment plain text covers an individual's conduct, the Constitution presumptively protects that conduct. The government must then justify its regulation by demonstrating that it is consistent with the nation's historical tradition of firearms regulation. No decision binds this court in answering that question here. Okay, let's see. So now it's talking about the plaintiffs, who they are, just basically establishing their standing. Let's see. All right, so factual allegations. All right, let me check something here real quick. Check the comments. The only one thing, I'm not ignoring you. This is the newest one filed yesterday or the day before. Yeah, the 30th. This was filed on the 30th. Looking FPC and Second Amendment Foundation, and a gun company. I can't remember the name, and then an archery dealer or something. The Cosmic Queen, how are you doing today? Oregon State Police are not processing any applications for background checks and won't be for a while. So people will have to go to shops that have a Charleston loophole. Well, this is what I think is going to happen. Do you think it's possible that people will just go to neighboring states and buy privately and then back in? I think this backfires. If you're a Democrat and you're advocating for this is why I say this backfires. You created this rush on guns that didn't need to happen, so everyone went out and bought guns, bought ammunition. So the left, they don't want these things on the street, but their rhetoric and garbage like this effectively put more out there on the street in the good guys' hands. So that's fine. That's all good. And I think it could persuade people to cross state lines into Idaho, for example. A little website called Z Idaho. Go pick something up privately and take it back home. The very thing they don't want. The Oregon State Police system went down yesterday for like an hour and a half. Wow. So probably everyone on there trying to get info or... What do you mean by the Charleston? The 3-day wait may also not apply because Oregon doesn't use the NICS system. Some dude was quoted in a newspaper, and this basically a direct quote. I voted yes for 114 because my carry gun has only 10 rounds, so the bill would make it so I'm never outgunned. Oh my God. But that's what we were saying earlier. I'm sure that, the criminals are. You think Pookie and Ray Ray of the Crips are going to, hey, yo, Pookie. Man, you can't take that 15 rounder, man. You got that 10 rounder? All right, cool. All right, let's roll. You think they're doing that? Hell no. Hell no. Rudy says, we are currently releasing firearms under the 3-day rule. Have you guys seen, if you go to Cabela's and Bass Pro, if you go to purchase a firearm and you're delayed, but the FFL calls you, they call back and they say, go ahead and proceed. Let's say they call back a few hours later, a day later, proceed them. They'll still make you wait 10 days or something stupid. I should have bought mine through you. Laugh out loud. I'm afraid I might get my handgun destroyed that I'm waiting for. I was 6,000 in a line. Whoa. All right. Jake says 3-day rifle is only a federal rule. Since Oregon doesn't use the federal system, it doesn't apply. Many stores are, but I hope they don't get in trouble for circumventing. Also, yesterday was the last to get the 3-day rule to apply, as it is 3 business days after it was put. Okay. On the 10th, I believe we were informed by OSP all gun sales of 18 to 20-year-olds had to be called in. Everyone I called went into delay. Unflippin' real. When I was a kid, I grew up. Most of my young childhood, I grew up in Idaho. I grew up outside of a little community called Grangeville. This was really cool. We lived about 9 miles out of town on the edge of the Camas Prairie and where the Clearwater Mountains came together. The place was really cool. And the very first gun I had, literally, I kid you not, was the Red Ryder lever action BB gun, the same one, the same type that was on the movie The Christmas Story. I wanted one, and I did get one. And then when I was probably about 9 years old. I had a 4-wheeler, and I had a 22 rifle. I had a bolt action 22 rifle, and I was, safe and trusted, very responsible. And I had the little gun rack on the front of my little 4-wheeler. I don't remember the size of the 4-wheeler. It couldn't have been more than an 80 or something. I put my 22 up there. You guys, I would be gone. We lived on 160 acres. That's the life. That's how I grew up. Okay. That is how I grew up. But nowadays you do that, and people look at it weird, say, anyway, it's just not the same. But one thing that I have learned, this is what I have learned since I started doing all the YouTube stuff. I've always been pro Second Amendment. I grew up with guns in my home. Having guns in the home was just normal. We'd go hunting. My dad had just a lot of different guns. But I do not know a life outside of having to do background checks. So in my mind, over all the years, I'm like, well, I don't care about a background check. I have nothing to hide. But people like, my dad died in 2014. He was 60, he was 62 years old, but he remembers, he would say, oh, I used to be able to go to the hardware store, go buy a gun, whatever, walk out with it, give him some money and walk out. But I never grew up like that. If you went in the store, you filled out the paperwork. But now, as I've been doing this and realizing background checks do not work, they didn't stop the last shooter. They said he wasn't prohibited from owning a gun. The Club Q, the night shooter, the them that went and shot up a nightclub. So my opinion on the background checks has changed. I used to be one to say, well, whatever, I have nothing to hide, I don't care. But now it's clear to me that the background checks are stupid. They don't stop anything. They only impede people like us. And I think they ought to just scrap them. And when I did the research, I found out, no shock, that the FBI was skewing the reports. And there's no real data to support that background checks work. And even if someone did go in to buy a gun and they were denied, they're just going to go to the secondary market. They're going to get one anyway. They're going to steal it. They're going to get one anyway. So that's just my opinion on it. So my opinion since doing this over the last couple of months has changed for the better. So anyway, all right, back to our comments. At my local FFL guy's place, he got a few hundred guns in the mail, asked me to come back. When they text me, they've logged mine. Logged or lost? Logged? I just bought one for my 10-month-old grandson. That's awesome. Yesterday, nationally, 18 to 20 is now a mandatory 10-day wait. Stupid. But, we've talked about it. I've talked about a couple of mass shootings on this channel, and we've always come to find that there was warning signs there. Someone failed to act. Someone failed to report. But, instead of blame the person that committed the most disgusting, despicable, heinous act, cowardly act, they go blame the gun, right? And now you look at Daniel Defense is now being sued. Daniel Defense is now being sued, and my thing was, well, the Waukesha Christmas parade attacker used a Ford SUV and mowed down 76 people. Nobody is out suing Ford. So why are we doing this with Daniel Defense of the guns? Raymond, SIG lawsuits because they are headquartered in New Hampshire. Okay, thank you. I didn't know that. And I was wondering that in the back of my mind too. if that's where they were located or if they were just basically court shopping, looking for a judge or something. Okay, sorry, did anyone comment on the Charleston? Are you talking about the Charleston loophole? We'll have to look that up. Someone made a comment about it earlier. How's it going, Music City? Oh, it's Tab. How are you? Autumn is sick. Autumn has the flu. So she is not feeling good. So she's here. And whatnot. And we are doing a watch, kind of like a little, I don't know what you want to call it, just watching to see if an injunction comes down today on Oregon's ballot measure 114. We're hoping that the federal judge strikes this, at least provides an injunction, because basically an injunction will halt this ballot. But if no injunction is put in place, it's allowed to go forward. Nobody in the state of Oregon as of December 8th will be able to purchase firearms, because there's a training component to it. You got to pay some money. You have to get a permit. The police don't even know what they're supposed to train on. But then again, we all say none of us should ever be going on bended knee to the police or any government to practice our Second Amendment right. What if we said, you know what, you have to go get a permit, pay a $65 fee, and take a training class before you can go vote? And then you have to go on bended knee to the elections office to go get a permit to go vote. Can you imagine? But we can do that with guns? It's baloney. Also, SIG firearms are manufactured. Okay. I didn't know that. Thank you. I should have researched that better, and I didn't. My mind just goes to the most nefarious thing, thinking, oh, they're probably out shopping for the most loony liberal court out there or something. Okay. Let me check our source. Let me check the source real quick here. Give me 1 minute, guys. See if anything has come through on this. Seems like this is taking an awfully long time. It just seems like there would have been something already. It just seems like. So I'm just checking here. So I checked the local Oregon one. Nothing. I'm checking on Fox right now. Yeah, hit the thumbs up if no one has. I could use all the help I can get here. So Nick says no news is good news. You know what? Okay. So that's what a commenter was saying earlier. Is this good or is this bad? I don't know. It's kind of like a jury, juries are dangerous and unpredictable. If a jury deliberates and quickly comes back, is that good or bad? If a jury deliberates and takes forever, is that good or bad? I don't think anyone really knows. The judge in this case is like the juror, it's like a little mini bench trial. So what is taking so long? And I don't know. I mean, and that's assuming that they even started on time. They could be arguing their hearts out. One side's like, strike this down now. The other side's like, no, we're social justice warriors. We're going to save lives. They did the exact opposite. If they had just kept their mouth shut, there'd have been more guns and ammo on the shelves in Oregon as we speak. But no, the Democrats do what Democrats do. They're always gun salesmen of the year. They open their trap. They put out some horrible ballot measure like this, or something, and then people run and go buy stuff. Okay. So I was looking on Fox, nothing yet. I'm still watching. I'm going to be here till we have something. But I did run across this headline: NBC and ABC silent pivot Colorado shooting coverage after new details emerge on the shooter. Yes, because you guys, I did a stream the other day that said a they them shot up Club Q and you got blamed for it. the media, you know, Joyless Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, you know, they were basically, you know, saying that it was right-wing rhetoric. And, you know, if you're against drag queen story hour with your kids, if you're against the sexualization of your children, if you're, you know, if you're some married Christian, it was your fault. And then guess what? The court document came out and they disclosed that the person claims to be non-binary, call me they, them. And they're like, oh my God, how could this be? Right. Did you take some Tylenol or anything? Oh. Let's see. Oh no. Oh no. Federal judge Karen said she expects to issue written ruling early next week, Monday or Tuesday, on whether or not to grant temporary restraining order. That would bar Oregon gun control measure 114 from taking effect. She heard 2 hours of arguments. Oh no! Damn it! Oh man. That worthless AG said the plaintiffs won't be harmed because they can keep and bear arms. It's the people that don't have guns yet. Pretty sure unconstitutional for one is unconstitutional for all. Exactly. So what if, what do you even compare this to, you guys? If all of a sudden, if all of a sudden, you know, somebody wants to be a gun owner and now they can't. It's ridiculous. Let's see. Well, who knows? All right. Dun, 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 dun. Always around 11:30, my connection starts to slow down around here. I could totally see them doing that, you know, holding off till next week or something. Nick asks, where did you see that? Yeah, where did you see that? Sounds like something they would entirely do. It really does. Sounds like something they would do. Corey says, I've been in quite a few courtrooms. I've never seen a judge show up on time. Yeah, that's true too. Nick says, fact she's a Democrat until 1998 is concerning. Yeah. And some people could change their views, but some of the deep down held convictions, no. Probably not. All right. Let's look some more at this complaint in the meantime here. I'm just trying to get it pulled up on the news so we can find it. All right, so this is under this complaint under factual allegations, line 18 of the affidavit. Let's see. Recently enacted ballot measure 114 criminalizes the manufacture, importation, possession, use, purchase, sale, or transfer of large capacity magazines after its effective date. Oregon Measure 114 attached here too as Exhibit A. So again, they're just establishing, goes into effect December the 8th. Let's see. Measure 114 defines large capacity magazines subject to limited exceptions as any magazine that has an overall capacity of or that can be readily restored, changed, or converted to accept more than 10 rounds of ammunition and allows a shooter to keep firing without having to pause to reload. Measure 114 includes some exceptions, including a 180-day grace period after December 8th, when licensed dealers may dispose of existing magazines in their inventory holding more than 10 rounds of ammunition or modify them to no longer accept more than 10 rounds. Measure 114 also includes a carve-out for manufacture for or sale to the military or law enforcement agency. It is an affirmative defense that the magazine a person uses or possesses was acquired by them before December 8th of 2022. So how do you prove that you've already had it, right? Because unless you bought a firearm that came with the mags and you have receipts, but a lot of people just, like I've bought magazines out of the bin at the pawn shop, $10. How do I prove that I've had that for 5 years, They could point a finger and say, well, we don't believe you. Okay, let's see. Let's see here. She only needs one view, the Constitution. Yeah, it seems pretty clear, but yeah. Let's see. If you don't halt it, everyone needs to call to schedule the training and apply on day one. The moment they cannot, they are blatantly restricting our second. Exactly. And we've been saying that here too. Is the moment that we said that a while ago. How everybody and their dog's going to be trying to get into one of these classes. There's going to be a limited number of people that's able to conduct the training. And then what's the price? And there's going to be somebody out there that's going to price gouge the garbage out of it, So training that would normally cost you, $150 to $150, $200 is now going to cost you like, $400 because they can. Check the Twitter link. Yeah. Music City. I think that link is on Twitter. I have Twitter. I'll look at it. Email yourself pics so you have proof. Have pictures of mag. Oh, that's a good idea. Never thought of that. Have pictures of mags officially notarized. Sure, that's a good idea. Never thought of that. Thank you for sharing that. A picture cannot identify a specific mag. They can just say that you owned a mag, but it might be a different mag. The pictures won't work. Yeah, I could see that too. You guys, this is gonna be a mess if this goes through. I've got to do that soon. Okay, you're talking to the other person. You have to serialize your. No, don't give them any ideas to serialize our mags. All right, let me look at. Let's see here. Well, looks like Yee got suspended from Twitter again. And I agree with that right here. Use it or lose it. The burden of proof is on them, not us. Exactly. Oh God. Multnomah County Health Officer, here we go, urges people to wear face masks indoors through the end of the year. Oh God, did they go with face diapers again? Okay, I'm looking on the local Portland news. I'm not seeing anything yet there. Let's see. Let me check. Dang. That's crazy. Yeah, you're guilty of having standard mags, and that's what I say. Because I mean, for example, the Glock 17 I have, it came with a 17-round magazine. My Glock 45 MOS 9mm came with a 17-round magazine. All right, let's see. The burden of proof would still come down to the prosecution. The affirmative defense is only at the time of police contact. Yeah. Well, I think in that case, I wouldn't say jack squat to the cops. I'd just keep my mouth shut and get a lawyer. Yeah, definitely. What about the fact that law says that if you modify or are able to modify a magazine, it could be more than 10 rounds, effectively making some magazines outlawed, even if they are only 10 rounds or less. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. So like if you alter it. This is a real conundrum. They need to strike this thing down. This is stupid. Okay. Let me look here. Let me look on this Twitter thing. See if I can find it on here. Give me one sec. So I do see on Twitter, so they are saying, so this is on Twitter, federal judge Karen, I wonder how you say that name, Eimergut, said she expects to issue written ruling early next week, Monday or Tuesday, on whether or not to grant temporary restraining order that would bar Oregon gun control measure 114 from taking effect. She heard 2 hours of arguments. The person that wrote this, Maxine Bernstein. Who is Maxine Bernstein? Let's see. So they wrote that at 11:09 a.m. That's my time. So what? Right? Yeah. So 12:09 down there. So I guess the question now is, so it's been retweeted 9 times. Doesn't have a lot of traffic. And it says Senior Assistant Attorney General Brian Simons Marshall told the judge Oregonians would be able to apply for a permit to buy a gun on December 8th, and the court's public gallery erupted in laughter. So are these guys reporting this from in the courtroom? Said the public gallery erupted in laughter. Wow. So that's on Twitter. Then a person wrote back to this Maxine Bernstein and said, "Not quite sure I understand this. Can you elaborate?" That was 3 minutes ago. Another person writes, "There are prerequisite requirements to get a permit that can't be completed yet. A practical gun safety class that hasn't been established and a background check that isn't in place. It will be impossible to get a permit on the 8th and likely for much longer than that." Yes, very much likely. So this is coming out so far. I don't know how accurate, reliable, but this is coming out on Twitter. You can't even purchase mags with the ability to be converted. So if they have a removable base plate, that is all but mags with fixed base plates. They backed us into a real corner. It maybe seems that way. And then Nick has the quote here. So Nick, yes. And then, so Nick has the quote right there that I just read off Twitter. So right there, that's the exact quote that I just read off Twitter. Dang, guys. Let's see. More people are chiming in on this. Let's see what other people here are saying. Someone asked, was there mention of Duncan v. Bonta or Bruin or the Bruin case during this? And like Spencer says, it'll be forever before there's any. Yeah, exactly. Probably a couple years. So how long does this go on? Music City's going to head out. Yep. Have a good day, Music City. Are you going to be on later? If so, I'll stop by if you guys are going to be on later. You missed the part where it says you can't restore one to function. So if the mags you have break, you can't fix them. Okay, good point. You're right. We definitely missed that. But see, this is why we have smarter people here to help us. This is awesome. So you guys check out this comment right here from Matthew. You missed you missed the part where it says you can't restore one to function. So if the mags you have break, you can't fix them. Wow. It'll be live tomorrow. All right, cool. All right, I'm looking. Let's see. I'm just looking here to see if there's anything else here that I could bring to you guys. I just trying to see something come out. So Jake is asking Matthew, so we can't even buy mag springs. That's, you know what, there's so many, you know what, now that you guys mention these things, there's so many more questions and answers, and this whole thing leaves people in a complete bind. This really sucks. Let me look at the news, see what's here. And that could be why it's not out on the regular media, is because nothing, I mean, other than they taking it under advisement and will issue something early next week, I guess. I don't know. Seems like they would want to be reporting on that. Let me check the Portland stuff again. Matthew says nope. Carl B, I think the permit to purchase is worse than the magazine ban. Honestly, I would love to hear more in these lawsuits about this is screwing us over. Yeah, I would definitely 110,000% agree with that the permit to purchase is definitely worse than the mag ban. Yeah, it is way worse than it seems at first glance, worse than California. These guys blew New York and California out of the water as far as worse and bad and tyrannical and overreach and unconstitutional. They topped them with this one. I'm not seeing anything on the local Portland news. I'm thinking where else. Let me look under. Let me click on politics here. No, we don't care about that. So the only thing they have reporting on Portland's KGW 8 is tough Oregon gun laws face legal challenge, could be delayed. That was an updated article from yesterday. It'll be a publicly accessible list of who bought what gun. Criminals will have a shopping list. Exactly. I'm going to go grab a phone charger. I'll be right back. Stand by. Okay. All right. So, all right. We're good there. Got a charger. Well, bummer, guys. I thought maybe we would have had something, something cool to be happy for, but I guess we could. I guess we could keep going through this complaint. I'm not. Let me look. Let me look at another thing here. See if anything's on CNN. See if they have anything. Okay, I'm not seeing anything there. Let me just type in like measure 114 update, see if there's something, see if a Google search will find it. I'm not seeing anything yet. Cameron says, on a call, you'll watch later. Sweet. We're just waiting for something here, but it looks like the only thing we're finding so far is on a Twitter feed, and it's saying that the judge heard 2 hours of arguments and she'll make a decision early next week. Where is the NRA? Well, the NRA just filed something in the last day, literally. They were too busy taking everyone's money, I guess. Nick says nothing yet, refreshing like crazy. Nate says, I agree. The NRA filed suit 2 days ago. Yeah. Where was it? And that's my thing. The NRA is like the biggest name with supposedly pro-gun stuff. Where were they? Where were they in all of this? I mean, where were they before the election day and getting out there and, they wait for this to happen instead of getting out ahead of it. If you're looking for more content to cover, there's ATF pushing for using their $49.99 sheet as law and the 80% stuff from Texas. Yeah, I saw that $49.99. How does and that's the thing I don't understand. The ATF makes their own laws. They just suddenly come up with some rule and then that's just it. I must have missed the NRA one. I know that GOA did. Yeah, there's GOA, Second Amendment Foundation. Who else? The FPC. There's a few. There's another one, Oregon. They call it like the Oregon Firearm Federation or something. P320 is a death trap. Yeah, based on the stream I did last night on the 320, yeah, I don't think I'm going to get one. And he just read. Yeah, we're going through that lawsuit actually kind of right now. We can go through it here some more. Let's see. We go through some more of this because they did cite Bruin. It says the affirmative defense is only available if the grandfathered magazines have been used in a limited manner, which notably does not permit their use in firearms carried concealed for self-defense. A violation of the magazine ban is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 364 days imprisonment and fines up to $6,250. And so now they're alleging, and I believe it's true, but this is what they put in the complaint. Oregon has criminalized a common and important means of self-defense. Although Measure 114 describes magazines that can accept more than 10 rounds of ammunition as, quote, large capacity magazines, this is a misnomer. Magazines capable of holding more than 10 rounds of ammunition are a normal feature of firearms in the United States and are more accurately described as standard capacity magazines. Thank you. As many as 500 million of these standard capacity magazines have been owned by Americans throughout the United States. So to me, this moves into this term you always hear about common use. Let's see. So now they're citing some stuff here. 48% of gun owners have owned magazines that hold more than 10 rounds. Americans own firearms. Given the survey's estimate that 81.4 million Americans own firearms, approximately 39 million Americans have owned at least one magazine that holds more than 10 rounds. But think about it. 80 million people did not go out and kill anybody yesterday. And that is a conservative estimate since only current gun owners were polled. Those individuals frequently owned more than one such magazine. In fact, Professor English found that American gun owners have owned as many as 269 million handgun magazines that hold over 10 rounds and an additional 273 million rifle magazines over that threshold for a total of 524 million such magazines. Sounds like common use to me. God bless my local Kaiser gun shop for being a main part of the suit going on today. Just FYI for those that want to support local. All right, cool. That's good. That's good to put out. Thank you for sharing that. So you guys check out that comment right there. We'll leave that comment up. Let's see. So there's basically just talking about how common they are here. Let's see. Just a whole bunch of stuff. This is even true through firearms capable of holding multiple rounds have existed since the late 15th century, and firearms capable of firing more than 10 rounds without reloading have existed at least since the late 16th century. That's interesting. I'll have to look that up. The first known firearm that was able to fire more than 10 rounds without reloading was a 16 shooter created around 1580 using superposed loads, each round stacked on top of the other. There you go. There's a piece of history for you guys right there. I did not know that. I learned something new almost every day. Xavier is asking, what is the name of the gun shop in Kaiser? Okay, and Nate delivers. Coat of Arms, custom firearms in Kaiser, Oregon. So Nate is talking about their gun shop where he lives is part of the lawsuit. They're supporting the lawsuit. So they're a plaintiff in the lawsuit. So they're really helping out the Second Amendment. This isn't just for the people in Oregon. This is for everybody in this country. So yeah, definitely, if you're in Oregon and you're able to, go support Kaiser. Definitely. Xavier says, I have been there. Thank you. They're going to get my business for sure. So I'm going to put this back up from Nate. There we go. So there you go. I never knew as early as 1580 there was something like that. So I learned something new all the time. All right. Never know what you're going to find when you read some of these affidavits. Repeater firearms were extremely popular in the 19th century and have come in many forms. The New York Evening Post in 1821 lauded Isaiah Jennings for inventing a repeater, important for both public and private use, whose number of charges may have extended to 15 or even 20. Wow. Interesting. Line 38 of the affidavit, around the time of the Civil War, multi-round rifles became commonplace. The 16-shot Henry rifle, invented in 1861, was very popular. Soon after, the first Winchester rifle was produced, and it could hold 17 rounds in the magazine with one more in the chamber. And they're citing Flaterman's Guide to Antique Firearms and their values. This is really fascinating. This is cool. So now they're talking about standard capacity magazines are important for the average citizen seeking to defend themselves because most shots fired in armed altercations miss their target. Professional police who are trained and must regularly practice with their firearms miss their targets more often than not. Well, I can attest to that because I saw fellow corrections officers in the shooting portion of the academy that could barely put a target, could barely put a round on paper. In a 14-year study of the Dallas Police Department, for example, officers achieved an accuracy rate of just 35%. Are you kidding me? And half of all Dallas officers missed every shot they fired. Jesus. Okay. As an example, Susan Gonzalez, a Jacksonville resident, was severely limited in her ability to defend herself by the size of her handgun's magazine. She was shot in the chest one evening when two armed men broke into her home. She retreated to her bedroom and found her husband's .22 pistol. After firing warning shots, she shot at one of the two men and hit him twice with their 7 or 8 remaining bullets. Out of ammunition and unable to reload, she was shot once more by the gunman, who proceeded to put his gun to her head and demand the keys to the couple's truck. By contrast, a homeowner in Houston successfully fended off 5 home invaders after firing at least a dozen shots in self-defense. Catherine Marchand, 5 shot and 3 killed after a homeowner opens fire on suspects in East Houston. This was reported on ABC 13, January 20th of 2019. These guys are making some pretty good justifications. Nate says they are the one of the 3 that filed. My question is, why 10? Laugh out loud. Why not stop at 11 or 5? Exactly. Like, who made this number 10, right? So all of a sudden 10 is fine, but numbers 11 through 17 or just 11 and above are suddenly bad, and they do these horrible things. They're like what are they, like extra explosive, extra deadly, extra, like I don't understand the magic number 10. I've heard this before, and I don't know. Have a good day, Misbehaving. Heading out. Thanks for the chat. Work the next 4 days. Not sure what we'll have left for guns by tomorrow. Coworker said today is as busy as the rest have been. I subscribed and we'll check back. Thank you. I'm gonna hang in here for a little bit longer, see if we get something, but it kind of looks like we may not be getting. It kind of seems like we're not getting an injunction. I'm looking at, well, at least today or right now. But I'm looking at the stuff now, seeing if there's any updates. So just give me a second here. So why doesn't everyone in rural Oregon start flying the Idaho state flag? 11 counties have voted to join Idaho so far. Oregon has become a lost cause. I agree. And I remember when they started the Greater Idaho movement a few years ago, people were laughing at it and they're saying, "Oh, that's never going to happen." Here we are, fast forward, and it seems to be gaining some traction for sure. Cabin 567 says the only way for freedom is to join Idaho, fly the Idaho flag, and make a statement from downtown, the courthouse, to your front porch. If you want freedom, then start identifying with freedom. Go Idaho. I identify as an Idahoan. Let me look here. Just give me one sec. Looks like Arizona certified their election. There's actually an article on Fox about, we could go through that. We'll go through that one. Drifting apart the states, and they're showing Oregon, Idaho, Texas. We can go through that real quick too. But let me look here and see if there's anything. You can also look at Twitter. So they're saying 14 minutes ago, FPC has filed a lawsuit citing Bruin. I'm curious, is this the lawsuit here, or did they file yet another one? I think it's this one here because they were citing Bruin. Okay, so there's not much there. So nothing more on the Twitter thing. All right. So I'm not seeing anything yet. It's just a lot of stuff saying gun shops are in a frenzy. It says right now it's probably some liberal stuff. OregonCapitalChronicle.com. And now they're trying to say that some Oregon shops might be selling to people that might fail a background. That is ridiculous. Okay. So far, nothing. No shock. Let's see. Let me refresh this, see if there's anything here. Okay, I'm not seeing anything, but let's check out this thing on Fox about the states. Let's see here. This is kind of interesting, I guess. Secession movements gain traction in U.S. amid deepening political rifts, a long-standing problem. Well, yeah. Let's see. They say people are beginning to ask themselves this question. If their state was already a self-governing independent nation, knowing everything they know about the federal government, would they vote to join the union today? And I think many people are coming to the conclusion that the federal government is not really fit for purpose. There is a better way. Miller wrote Texit, like the Brexit thing, but Texit, how and why Texas will leave the union in 2018 offered the unrestrained surge of illegal immigration at the Texas border during the Biden administration as a prime example of why he believes the state should go its own way. Let's see here. Look at that. Look at those photos, all these migrants coming through. This is unreal. According to a Defend Texas Liberty PAC poll of randomly selected Texas GOP primary voters in October, 59% of respondents said they are in favor of a secession referendum, with only 25% responding against such a measure. A 2021 poll by Brightline Watch and YouGov found that 37% of respondents nationwide expressed a willingness to secede from the union. Let's see here. So it looks like they're talking a little bit here about the history. Curious if there's anything in here about maybe the Oregon stuff. Okay. So conservative rural voters in Illinois who believe they lack fair representation are echoing their counterparts in Oregon and elsewhere, according to Matt McCaw, a leader in the Greater Idaho movement. We have this long-standing problem in Oregon, which is that the west side of Oregon is very populated, and the left-leaning and very left-leaning, while the east side of Oregon is very rural and very conservative. McCaw explained to Fox News Digital. McCaw is a lifelong resident of Oregon, recounted how the idea for Greater Idaho emerged in 2019 when some fellow Oregonians were sitting around in a pizza place trying to think of how to bridge the widening gulf between liberals and conservatives in the state. Deciding that secession from a liberal rule of the Portland area was the best solution, they went county by county, taking to voters in their idea of shifting the border of red state Idaho westward. The measure made it on the ballot and recently clinched support from the majority in 2 more Oregon counties in November, securing them election wins in 11 of the 15 counties that are proposed to depart the state to join its more conservative neighbor. Greater Idaho supporters argue that its electoral victories indicate that all 15 counties would vote to support the measure if given the chance. This is pretty interesting. So basically saying the Cascade Mountain Range would be the divide. So this is definitely gaining some traction. I mean, 11 counties in Oregon are wanting this. This is nothing to, All right, let me check my news feeds one more time here. If there's nothing out, I'll check the news feeds again. I'll look at Twitter. If there's nothing out, then probably for the moment I'll go. So I need to get some medicine for Autumn. I need to go get some more Tylenol. She has the flu. Keep watching this. If something comes out, then we can go live again. I'm looking through the measure 114 here. How's it going? Hi, Nick. Yeah, I got to go get going. Good chatting. Liked and subscribed. Thank you. I appreciate it. I think that's what I'm going to do, you guys. I'm going to keep watching this. If some good news comes out, I'll use the same thumbnail, and then so you guys can recognize it, and then we'll go live again. We'll just talk about it. I was really hoping to have something, because usually when you get these injunctions, something comes out quickly. There's some text to it, like one of these, court documents, and we could comb through it, see what the judge says. We don't have that yet. As soon as there is one available, I'll do a live on it. I'll do a stream. But nonetheless, we got to share a lot of good information and talk about it. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just not seeing much here. Let me look. Nothing there. Check CNN. Yeah, nothing new on the Twitter stuff. They're just talking about more people that are defending, joining the lawsuit to have 114 taken down. But nothing really beyond that. But there's more plaintiffs. So the more plaintiffs, definitely the better. What a shock. Get ready to put on your surprise faces. Houston police make arrest for murder of rapper Takeoff. Whoever in the F that is. All right, I'll look on the KGW site one more time here. Seems like Twitter, the Twitter one was interesting. The person that was, let's see, the Seattle Times talking about how the judge was going to hear it. But there's no responses to it. I mean, there's no, like someone talking about what happened. Oh, a lot of static. Sorry. Is there still static? I don't hear any static now. It's gone. Okay, I think it's because I have my phone on this portable charger, and I probably had it too close to something here, because sometimes it does that. Sometimes it'll do something weird like that. All right. Well, I cannot find anything else on this. Let me look at that one thread one more time. All right. Well, I'm not fine. There's just nothing. Firearm Policy Coalition tweeted out, the cloud of uncertainty and how long it will last is a feature, not a bug. Make no mistake, no matter how long they take to finalize their tyranny, we fully intend on destroying Oregon ballot measure 114. And then they say, get in the fight at shred114.com. So all right. Well, what I'm going to do is I will continue to watch for this throughout the day. Let's see. Okay, so this is being reported on Facebook. So I have this on Twitter. So hold on a second here. They're saying, waiting for my phone to do its thing. For some reason, every time we get around 11 o'clock noon, it starts to slow down big time. So it's pulling it all up now. If it'll let me see it. It's a Facebook. I don't know how. We'll take it with a grain of salt. I'm not even on Facebook, so. Someone put this out. Apparently, they titled it Details from the Court, and they put this out 4 minutes ago. Seems like in the past with other Second Amendment stuff, when they would at least be looking to get something temporary put in place that okay, so here's what they wrote. So this is Oregonian. This is a Facebook group. It looks like Oregonians Against Measure 114. So this is a couple of updates. This is stuff we may already know. A couple updates from today's hearing on the emergency injunction for Measure 114. Judge Eimergut expects to have her ruling on today's hearing by Monday or Tuesday at the latest. Attorney James Buckle, Buchal, informed the court of their intent to file a fourth lawsuit challenging specifically the permit to purchase requirement by 5 o'clock today. So that's a new development. He was the attorney who filed the second lawsuit that addressed only the magazine ban. The permit to purchase was not the primary focus of the hearing, but was mentioned. Toward the end, Judge Eimergut asked about it, and the state replied that people would be able to apply for the permit on the 8th. There was laughter and no's in attendance in those that were observing. A more detailed summary will be available later today. It is unclear which direction the judge will rule on either the magazine ban or the permit to purchase. So it looks like that is all we have at the moment. So basically, the judge, James, let me put this up here for you guys. Or I'm sorry, not the judge, the attorney. Let me put this up. So this is what to file. All right, so this is apparently all right. So this person right here, so Attorney James, I don't know how to pronounce that, Buchal, to file suit against permit to purchase by 5 p.m. today. So they're going to file that. So the judge is probably going to have something else to have to hear or consider. And again, to recap, the permit to purchase was not the primary focus of the hearing, but was mentioned toward the end. Judge Eimergut asked about it, and the state replied that people would be able to apply for a permit on the 8th. There was laughter. You guys, there was laughter from the courtroom. A more detailed summary will be available later today. It is unclear which direction the judge will rule. Okay. So the judge has a poker face on. There you go. So there we go. That is all we have right now and for the moment. So not much to really go on, but we know that this attorney is going to file another. So it sounds like, from what I could tell by this limited information, this attorney is going to file a lawsuit today by 5 based on this permit to purchase, because it sounds like, for whatever reason, permit to purchase was not the primary focus of the hearing. I that seems to be the biggest issue with all of this, but for whatever reason, it wasn't the primary focus. And the judge didn't ask about that, allegedly, according to this this group, Tristan James, let me hold the phone up to the screen here. It's Oregonians. It's a Facebook group. I originally got this off Twitter. It's a Facebook group. This is the best we're getting right now. Oregonians against Measure 114. Very bad sign. If the judge was at all willing to block, they would have done it today. Monday, Tuesday means they are just delaying. Yes, I agree. So I guess that's the thing that I truly don't understand is this is just my opinion. This permit to purchase seemed to be the root of all this. The rest of it's just incidental, like the magazine ban, etc. And it looks like she didn't even ask about the permit to purchase until the end of the hearing, and then the state AG said, well, they can get a permit to purchase a gun on the 8th. And then the courtroom allegedly erupt into laughter. We saw a Twitter post earlier where they were saying that we've been scouring all the major news sites, of course, and the locals, and we can't find anything. So this is the best we have. That's why I said earlier, take it with a grain of salt. But all of us know that when someone goes to file a temporary injunction to get some kind of emergency relief of whatever the thing is, especially when it comes to guns, the Second Amendment, we always know about it right after. And then you can pull the court document up online and comb right through it. And that has not happened in this case. So it looks like she's basically tabled it until next week, Monday or Tuesday at the latest, according to this judge. So now, in my opinion, based on this, the response of this attorney is that he's going to file another lawsuit by 5 today. Maybe that's to redirect the focus, to really reiterate this permit to purchase is garbage. Judge, hello, look at this. That could be what that is. So they're not messing around. So share it out. Let me type it down below. It looks like it's... I don't have Facebook, but this is the Facebook group. I put it down there in the chat, so you guys can go check it out for yourself. Here, I'll put this up on the screen right here. All right, so go check that out. Jerry, what's that mean? Instant check? Is that good? Does it mean they clear you right away and then you're just good to go? Jerry got his guns. Hell yeah. Cool. I'm glad. I'm glad for you. That's good. Hell yeah. Dang, guys, I wish we had better news, but that's just the best I can find for you guys right now. That's the best I can find at the moment. And then, all right. I'm going to do one last check. See if there's anything here. Nice. Hell yeah. Tristan, how's it going? Thanks for coming. Background checks have been going fast like crazy. They're doing over 1,000 a day. That's wild. I've been transferring a lot of stuff. Hell yeah. Well, you guys, that's just the best I have for you right now. Sorry, I was really hoping we would have more. Sucks. At least in Multnomah County, they're doing over 1,000 background checks. Yeah, and the sheriff of Multnomah County is also, saying, "Oh, be patient with us while we figure out what's what and implement this. Be patient. Be patient for your rights." Huh. Crazy. But this was important because it's the last few frames I needed. Cool. Nate says, I have a PSA AKV being delivered Monday, but I can't go to my FFL until Wednesday afternoon. I hope I am good. I always have been. Yeah, I can understand the anxiety with that. I was at 7,300 Saturday and got approved yesterday. Wow. Background checks are done at the state level, not county. Okay, I am looking. So I think what I'm going to do for now is go. You guys, I put that Facebook group there, Oregonians Against Measure 114. That seems to be the best info that we have. There's been a couple of sources that said that people in the courtroom started laughing. It sounds like that lawyer is going to go file a lawsuit by 5 o'clock Oregon time today. And I will do my best to try to. I got to go to the store and go get some Tylenol anyway because my wife is sick. She's got the flu. The other kids had it. My oldest didn't get it. I feel fine. But anyway, I am going to keep my eye out. If something good pops up or even something bad, either way, I'll use the same thumbnail and I'll hit the live again, and then we'll talk about it on the fly. So in the meantime, I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go work. You guys, this is probably the best turnout that I have ever had. So when I first opened the stream and saw 20 people, I kind of was like, uh-oh. I am not a pro at any of this. I've only been doing this for a few weeks. I just like to talk about Second Amendment to the best of my ability. And so hopefully was able to keep this going and not make anybody go to sleep. So this is really important for all of us and for our rights. Just, I'm in Alaska. I'm fortunate to not have to deal with this, but none of us, in my opinion, are truly free when we have Americans in Oregon going through this. Then none of us are truly free because this could come knocking on any of our doorsteps. If Alaska can put in a Democrat, this could happen anywhere, in my opinion. So I will keep a close eye on this. Good, bad, whatever. I will bring it live. So if you guys are all subscribed, you'll get a notification. I am not going to monetize this channel because I don't want to link any of this information with making any money whatsoever. I don't want it to get convoluted. I don't want to, be in a shill. I don't want any of that. So I like to do it this way. I like to keep it free, and the channel will be under far less scrutiny if it is not monetized. So, and I don't want to monetize and also give YouTube 30%. So anyway, all right, guys. I I'm hoping to be back with some better news today or whenever this comes out. Also, the last thing I want to leave with, my wife is looking for a kidney. She is type O. She has very high antibodies. In parentheses, that's her Facebook page. And then that is our email below. So if anybody is interested in being a donor, asking, questions about the kidney stuff or wants to share it, that would really help out a lot. Autumn my wife owns a 10 millimeter Springfield XDM Elite 3.8 inch barrel. I am kind of jealous of her gun, to be honest. But anyway, so she's a gun enthusiast like all of us. She just happens to do dialysis 3 days a week. So we're just desperately trying to find her a kidney. And so anyway, if anybody is interested, that's the Facebook page. Share it out. That would really help. So anyway, I will wait for some good news, bad news, whatever. I'll report it. In the meantime, I'm going to the store to get Tylenol, and I need to go to work. I'm self-employed, thank God, but I need to go to work. So thank you guys for coming and supporting a little channel like mine. So there'd be no point of doing this if none of y'all were here. Tristan says, keep doing it. It's nice to communicate like this. I will. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm not, like all fancy with the words and don't have the million subs. I don't care about any of that. I like to have a small group here and have these discussions and have conversations with like-minded people. So all right, guys. So I'll be back with good news or bad news, whatever comes out. Whenever it comes out, I'll keep an eye on this. So thank you for joining the stream. I wish we would have had more. I wish we would have had the injunction come out and we could have read through it together here. Or hell, even we don't want a denial, but even if that came out, we still would have read through it to see where the judge mind is at. So another lawsuit drops today by 5 by that lawyer. So that's a good thing. All right, guys. Remember, stay safe. Keep your head on a swivel, and we'll catch you in the next one. Hell yeah, let's get it. See ya. Thank you.